Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Hour of Love. I'm Charboil and this is...
El Bandito.
Oh man, I bet you guys are surprised to see us tonight. You know, it's definitely not our normal scheduled time, but we got a special presentation coming at you. Why don't you tell them about it, El Bandito?
Oh man, we are super psyched because after having Big Bill from the Horror Mafia Podcast joining us earlier this week on Monday, we were invited to come and hang out with the entire crew of the Horror Mafia Podcast to do a retrospective with them on the film series PSYCHO.
Oh, yeah.
So, man, we are super psyched about this. We are super psyched to get in with the Horror Mafia Podcast. We're going to head over to the interview room, and let's get in touch with them.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
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 How's it going, Horror
Hello.
Mafia?
Oh, we're doing great. We just do our... Hello and welcome. This is episode 55 of Horror Mafia Podcast. I'm your host, Donnie Rings, and with me tonight are my trusted associates, Big Bill.
Toasted cheese sandwiches and milk?
Terrible Tanya.
Only your mother truly loves you.
And Baby Joey.
I had two quotes, a backup one, and that was both of them, you mother. Are you kidding me?
I changed mine because I thought you were going to take another one.
There we go.
Here's one for you, Joey. How about...
You couldn't have chosen the big one then?
A boy's best friend
You
is
couldn't have.
silver. I was
Oh,
going to choose that, but I figured everybody was going to choose it.
I didn't want to go on a tirade, you know, but I guess I just had to. What are you going to do?
Speaking of going on a tirade, we've got some special guests with us this evening. We recently did a crossover show with them, and tonight we're paying the favor by having them here with us tonight. Please welcome from the Power Hour of Love, our good buddies Charboil
No,
and Elben.
Charboil.
Oh,
Charboil under the water.
Oh, oh, sorry, yeah, Charboil.
What did you do, Mooney? Or wasn't that the guy's name, Mooney? Get away from her, Mooney, or Rooney, or what was it? Toomey, yeah, get away from her, Toomey.
I've got what's so far my favorite. I made it just the way you like it, with a splash of vanilla.
Oh, yeah.
And that was his partner in crime, El Bandito.
Oh, yeah. Thank you guys for having us on tonight. We're so excited to come on here and chat about some of our favorite films, PSYCHO, with you guys.
Absolutely, man. You know, we're big fans of the show. We've listened to a ton of your guys' episodes. We think they're absolutely fantastic, man. And they're just... We're so excited to be here and get to lend our creative voice to the already amazing orchestra that you guys put on, man. So we're stoked. Thank you guys so much.
Ding-a-ding! Thank you, El
Absolutely.
Bandito.
Thank you for being here.
That little guitar.
You want some guitar? We got some guitar.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for having
All right.
me on again.
Well, we're all fired up, man. We had some rigatoni with meatballs earlier. We're all part of the, mafia trend, man. We're down. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
In outside of special events, we are not going to be doing our Sopranos retrospective tonight because we've got 4 great films and 2 special co-hosts in the studio with us. So, for those, like we said at the top of the show, this is a Psycho retrospective.
That's right.
And
Dave Z
let's
had to take a trip down south to Boca. Dave Z went out to a fish play.
So yes, we'll be more of that for those
Next week.
But for now, let's dive into the original. Yeah, we'll be back with those later on. But for now, let's start in on our episode 1960s Psycho.
All right, here it is,
Original.
folks, 1960s Psycho. Right off the DB. Here we go. A Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from her employer's client, goes on the run, and checks into a remote motel run by a young man under the domination of his mother.
Oh, man.
Wow. Huh. All right. Not the best, but
I mean,
not the best, but it's serviceable for the first half hour.
Is it just me, or is
Serviceable for the first
$40,000 like a crazy amount of money in 1960?
Yeah, it was, apparently.
Yeah, I think they did the study. It's somewhere. I think they said it's around 500,000 in today's money.
Right, that's why
Wow.
I don't want to jump anywhere.
Just
But
for-
the remake made it like 435,000 or something.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so they upped
Right,
it
yeah,
a little
'cause
bit.
I think that's
a little bit of
just for
inflation there.
inflation, it's like 500,000.
And Don's
Yeah, so-
deep swimming down there with
Yeah, man.
south of the border where the tuna fish play with Dave Z.
Hey,
Really
I'm the
like
one
that
in
one.
Florida here, Don. You're the one sounding underwater.
Yes. We got Big Bill coming in from down south in Florida.
Oh yeah, hanging with us down here.
I know you can't
That
tell from
shirt.
that shirt that he's in Florida. So
He wasn't going to take it.
It's a standard issue. When you come to Florida, they give you a Hawaiian shirt and a pair of black socks and some sandals.
man, I got to tell you guys, there used to be up on I-75 this place that grew pineapples, and you know they're very hard to grow. They have to grow in that very very hot climate. So these were like imported from Hawaii, and there was acres and acres of pineapple fields. And every time I drive up there to visit my grandma, we'd stop in, and they had these imported Hawaiian shirts from Hawaii, hand stitched, man. So Bill, I'm right there with you, dude. If I wasn't too fat to wear any of mine, I'd be repping. But I got them when I was like
Deal.
12. So
Nice.
And here I was gonna wear my Norman Bates sweater tonight. Just a little too hot down here in
Yeah.
Florida to be wearing a sweater.
Oh, yeah.
But like we were saying, I mean, this is an Alfred Hitchcock classic. You know, one of the things I remember my father always telling me about this movie is that when he went to go see Psycho in the theaters, like he had to wait in a line, and if you didn't get in before the
Oh,
movie
yeah.
started, they turn you away.
Right?
And back in the day, that wasn't uncommon to, like, you know, go in like 15, 20 minutes late. So that's kind of
Oh, yeah,
cool.
Hitchcock did that. It was a special thing he had with the theaters.
Yeah, it said you can't come in after it started.
Right.
that's awesome, man. I wish they did that nowadays because too many people do a bunch of annoying crap. You know, wandering in there, leaving the door open, making a ruckus and squeaky chairs.
Yeah.
Cell phones.
And how about that
You know,
theme?
I think this is a nice little discussion here because, you know, we always have a little antipasto going around. This is just a little minor one. But, like, you know, have you guys been to, like, the Alamo Draft House and these kind of venues where you can sit and eat and there's waiters walking around?
Oh, we have the Carefree Theater in Florida, right?
Yeah, well, we had a festival theater here in Port St.
Oh, that's
Lucie.
it. The Festival Theater. I'm sorry, not the
Yeah.
Carefree.
And I remember the only time I went there, it was completely fogged out with cigarettes to the point where I was like, wow, I can't eat anything in here. Like, so it was,
I played Frankenfurter there for Rocky Horror for years.
yeah, I think by the time I got there, it was kind of past its prime, though, Bill. You know?
So was I.
But so, like, you know, those venues like the Alamo Draft House here in Brooklyn, you know, you got to keep your phone away. If they see you take it out, they'll throw you out without a refund.
Wow.
But, like, I'm sitting there watching Phantasm and fucking, oh yeah, I fucking went to see Phantasm on Friday and met Don Coscarelli. But yeah, I'm fucking sitting there and there's like waiters walking in front of me, fucking like crouching down, like, yeah, you bending down 6 inches is making a fucking difference now. Are you kidding me? Man. So I'm just like, what's the point? One way or another, I'm spending more money to be distracted. I might as well spend less and freaking hope that nobody's in the regular theater. It's absolutely crazy. It's a lose-lose. Just watch it at home.
No doubt, man. I can tell you the one thing I do like, though, is we have a couple of these theaters down here. One is called Silver Spot, and one is called the Movie Co. And at these, you can buy liquor at the venue, and I'm down with that. That's pretty rocking. I think I saw about 8 minutes of Mission Impossible 4 before I started just wandering the halls out there.
I remember that showing, yeah.
But what was cool was like eight months later, I get the movie on DVD, and they have this intro at the beginning where they just flash through kind of quick images of the whole film, and it was like, whoa, it all came back to me in like 30 seconds. So that was fun.
Floodgates open.
I did actually see a showing of Psycho at a place down here called the Lyric Theater, and it was like, it was actually like they do like these free movie weekends in the summer, and they had a double feature. You get to see The Birds and Psycho, and it was pretty cool. It was a nice little setup,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great seeing them on the big screen, like classics, stuff that, not the contemporary films, but, I got a chance to see Nightmare 3 and 4 on the big screen this year. Phantasm 1 and 2 this year. And I never really went out and seek these. I live in New York City. Every Saturday night, they're playing The Shining at the IFC Center. It's like, how do I not utilize this shit?
You gotta see it, yeah.
Got to do it up now.
The Shining, you're sitting away.
I'm sorry, they don't play the Sharknado, Donnie.
It's sticky floors anyway. He won't go.
Well, it's just saying that's going to keep me away no matter what.
Well,
what are you going to do?
I mean, when you start watching Psycho, I mean, that opening theme just kind of gets you in the zone. I think, that dun, 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 just,
Bernard Herrmann score. Good. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was so good they had to rip it off for Reanimator. I think you guys confirmed that for us last time. that was definitely a bona fide rip. Not even like hey, we're gonna change it like a Vanilla Ice style. They were just like, we're just stealing this.
Just taking it. That's it. Thank you.
Like a Facebook post. I'm stealing this.
So, like you said, the story starts off in Arizona, but then it ends up where?
In Bakersfield? No, not Bakersfield, right?
Arizona?
California?
No, I think it goes to California, doesn't it? Isn't it somewhere?
Isn't it like?
Yeah, it's just on the border. It's just on the border. Yeah, it's like right around Bakersfield, I think.
So, is it a real town that they go to, or was that like a?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if that was kind of.
No, I've never been out there.
How did I not write the town down? It's like Fairview or
Fairview. I think. Yeah.
She got a notepad like she's a gumshoe over there. Flipping her open.
They say it's in Fairvale, but I don't know if that's an actual town or not.
Right. It was between the border of Fairvale and Bakersfield.
Yeah, but who knows if that would, it's a died out by now. You would have to have checked around 1950, 1960 to know if they were a real town.
Right, and that's the reason no one stopped there anymore, because they built the big highway.
Yeah, that's right.
Bakersfield, California is a real town.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is that I know Bakersfield because they mentioned that, but
no.
You see the signs on the road that they say that they're near Bakersfield, but you know that that's kind of like where it's at.
Yeah. I think they mentioned the specific route too of the highway over there.
Like, doesn't the girl start off in Phoenix though? That she robbed or takes the money in Phoenix and then she's heading out.
Yeah, even that opening scene with her and her boyfriend, like she's like in her bra and stuff like that. I'm sure for like 1960s, that was kind of like, whoa,
This movie's so fresh.
The funny thing is that the only part of this that the censors actually had a problem with was the scene of the toilet bowl flushing.
Yeah. Of all things. No,
it's okay. It's just a Baby Ruth.
Came on board about.
No, it's true. In fact, the first time you could hear a toilet bowl flush on a TV show was All in the Family.
Yep.
Seeing it flushing. You can hear it, but I'm saying it's actually
No, you couldn't even hear it until All in the Family.
Now the guy who she stole the money from, what was he? Was he like a real estate guy or an oil tycoon?
He was her boss at the bank.
Well, I know he was the boss, but there was a guy that was opening an account or something.
Hang on,
investor, wasn't he?
How did Charboil switch topics from the toilet talk, man? Like that's like your favorite subject, man. What happened?
Done.
Big poop.
Oh, real quick, let me just
he was a piece of ass back in 1960.
before we keep this fucking tornado of tangents all over the place going, let me just take a drop back. This was 1960, Psycho. It premiered September 8th, right on the cusp of the end of the summer, post Labor Day weekend. Everybody shot, and here we go. Boom, they dropped this.
Don't forget, it was a novel by then unknown author Robert Bloch.
Yes, based off the novel. Joe Stefano wrote the screenplay, who also wrote Tanya's favorite Part 4 screenplay. And of course was directed by Sir Alfred Hitchcock.
And once you got in the film, you could not get out. You had to stay in.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, no, I don't know if you couldn't leave.
Well, that's what I watched a video, and they said once you went in the film, you couldn't leave. No, wait, not leave, but nobody could come in once it started.
Yeah.
15 minutes, right?
Right. If you were late, you couldn't get in.
Right. That's what Charboil said.
Oh,
Yeah.
How did I miss that? Oh, yeah.
A tornado of tangents.
Have some more beer,
She
Chan.
she was all focused on the toilet stuff there.
No
one
one
can
for
touch
Bill's
it.
load over there. Got to double up.
Well, we got to give a shout out to some of our fans joining us out there tonight. Justin K, Rich T, man, we see you guys out there. Jason T, even Travis Gibb stopped by to show up for a little bit, man. Guys, what's up? They're wondering if they're stuck in a time warp. Nope, we're here with the Horror Mafia Podcast, man. Special guests on their show. We're so excited, right? And they want to know, guys. They want to know. Do you guys want to get one of those 130-degree HD projectors for your house and watch all your movies there? Or is the movie experience still worth some times going to the theater?
I mean, I think there's a couple of factors nowadays, and some theaters by me, there's so many theaters that the screen, really, it's not that much bigger than something you can have at your home,
Yeah.
Don's in this, by the way.
Depending on where you sit. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I want the drive-in. I want the friggin' drive-in experience.
Yeah,
There you go.
that would be nice, man.
Yeah, I would like to experience that once in my life.
Now, Joey, I heard you mention the screenplay writer. That was Joseph Stefano, right, for the original Psycho?
Yes.
And then he went back and did the screenplay and wrote 4, like almost by himself, right? But did you guys know, we got a Star Trek fan in the house out there. Did you guys know that he actually wrote Skin of Evil, the episode in which Tasha Yar dies in The Next Generation?
No, I didn't know that.
Will?
Right? Isn't that wild?
Is that Will who told us that?
No, man, that's Justin K out there.
Man.
Actually, I got this fact, but I wanted to throw it out to him. So it's pretty cool stuff, though.
I've never seen a Star Trek anything.
What? Come on!
I don't get it.
He's
know you
like
I'm gonna assume
Charboil.
Wrath of Khan Part 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Wrath of Part 4.
That's about it.
I think that was in 2010. They did
There
Part
you go.
4 of the Wrath of Khan
Yeah. I saw
Yeah,
that
I
at the theater.
with Benedict Cumberbatch. Right?
I went with two of my friends. Neither one of them knew anything about Star Trek, and they were both like laughing when he yells "Khan." I'm like, "What's wrong with you girls? It's Khan."
That's all right, man. I can tell you guys, like, Party Man Will's got Star Trek on lock, man. He's actually told me stories where he's shown those movies to a girl and managed to seal the deal by the end of the night. And I'm like, that's impressive, bro. I don't think I could make that move. That's a move, bro.
What did I say? What's Star Trek's quote? It's not to infinity and beyond. That's Buzz
Up
Lightyear.
to
That's,
boldly
That's
go
Toy
where no
Story.
man has gone before.
to go where no nerd has gone before.
There you go.
Nice.
You gotta do this.
I'm gonna tell you, El Bandito, man. I believe the story about Party Man Will because that dude got me a Star Trek pocket watch for my birthday one year.
Dude, he has a tattoo of the communicator on his chest.
No, I'm saying that pocket watch, I was drowning in pussy.
Nice, man.
Oh, wait,
You
no,
wear a monocle while you were at it?
It's nice to know he never buys me gifts like that.
I have a monocle.
Ooh, you got to wear it next episode.
Well, it's
like-
with my steampunk cosplay, so.
So you got to wear your steampunk cosplay next episode.
I'd like to have a Psycho pocket watch. You know, it's like Norman in there, like that picture.
Stop
So
trying to
this
wrap
is gonna
it
be the
back to
Psycho
Psycho.
retrospective where we don't talk about Psycho. Just
We
bang,
talk about
bang.
Star Trek.
Talk about Star Wars next. Don's probably over there like these motherfuckers. I out every single one of their asses.
Horses to beds tomorrow.
This fucking guy's gonna take out half of Belmont Park tomorrow.
Well,
It's gonna be a horse in all of our beds when we wake up.
we don't actually see Norman Bates in Psycho for what, like 25 minutes before I mean, it's at least a while before like you even
Yeah.
see a lot of the, main characters of the film.
And I mean that's like breaking the traditional norms of filmmaking of the time too. It wasn't like
I see what you did there.
But yeah, that opening scene where, I remember my dad showed me this film, like, he didn't tell me anything about it. I hadn't seen any, like, parodies or anything. So I was really kind of like, dude, is this really like a horror film? Like, I was like, is this like some, crime drama or something? Which, I mean, it kind of is too, but like, man, after, that rain scene happens and she gets to the hotel and you kind of meet Norman, you're like, oh, this dude's a nice dude, like, where's this going?
Seems legit.
Exactly. And it's like, yeah, I mean,
Well, then the taxidermy starts, and then it's kind of like, okay, there's a red light.
yeah, the taxidermy.
Oh,
Spoiler warnings for this movie. Come on.
Oh yeah.
yes, that light though. Holy cow! When she sees her boss.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's gripping. When he sees her in the eyes and they look at each other. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. How about
That
when
was
she's
awesome.
There's one more scene like that in this film. Is when after he kills her, Norman, and her body's in the trunk, and he puts the car in the swamp, and it doesn't go down all the way at first.
Oh yes.
He's chewing his fingernail, his thumbnail.
Yeah.
Like, the suspense there is amazing.
Yeah.
The only thing that could have made that better is like a cop was coming.
You heard a siren or something in the background.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the classic, Hitchcock cameo. Where
Of
he's
course.
isn't he like carrying
a car?
Yeah.
wasn't he carrying a bird or something like that or something like?
No, he's crossing the street.
Was he crossing the street? Okay, must have been the birds when he's walking out of the pet shop or something.
Yes, it was with poodles.
Yeah, with poodles. Yeah.
But man, what a movie! It totally shocked audiences in theaters. Nobody's seen where this was going. The elephant in the room is the fucking shower scene. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Still to this day, I know people who swear they saw the knife go into her and see gore and blood.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I saw a nipple.
No nipple, nothing.
I saw a nipple, Bill, and a butt cheek.
No.
That's because you were looking down your own shirt.
Again?
You had your
The
shirt over
Nelson
your head.
Mandela Project.
Mandela.
What was it called?
Oh, the Mandela effect. Yeah.
No, okay.
Bill, you sure in the reshoot for the sequel they didn't show a nipple? You sure they didn't superimpose a nipple in there?
I think it was Vince Vaughn's nipple though.
Oh, that's the remake. No, it's not.
That's what I mean. They did it George Lucas style. Just added it to the 1960 movie.
Now,
Don's nipple. That was on the
Gone
Blu-ray.
back and digitize the nips.
before Norman kills her, he does peek in on her, right? Doesn't I mean, like you said, at that point you're kind of like, oh, this
Take
dude's
a peek. You know?
yeah, you kind of just got the feeling he was a creeper, but like.
Yeah.
Me being a young kid when I first saw this, I was like, "Oh man, this mom's nuts." She came in and stabbed the hell out of this lady, And it was like, "Well, now here's a pop quiz. I know you guys. What did they use for blood during that scene?"
I know. Bill knows.
I
I
know.
think it was, I think it was chocolate, wasn't it?
It was chocolate syrup.
Yep, Hershey's
Yeah.
chocolate syrup.
Syrup, yeah.
Sorry, we have to quiz the horror mafia every once in a while. Just
Well, I know we got another question from our audience here. They're wondering if any of you guys know if the Psycho house is still on the Universal set.
In Florida or California?
California. Like the original. Like, is the original house still there? Or did they take it down?
Right. I'm not sure. I know in Florida it's gone.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's still there. I watched a video earlier this year where the tram ride will still bring you by there, and they'll actually have they have a guy playing Norman, and he's carrying a body and putting it in a trunk.
Oh,
and then when
man.
he notices that the tram's there, he starts to kind of head towards the tram, and the guy's like, "Oh crap, we got to get out of here," and he drives out of.
Cool.
I think
that-
I
that
saw
was
part
this
of that
year?
video the other night, last night when I was flipping through.
That was this year?
Well, yeah, it was earlier this year. Like,
Oh,
so I
that's
know
cool.
I know the one in California is still standing, but unfortunately, yeah, they did get rid of the one at Florida's Universal Studios. Yeah. So sorry, guys. Figured I'd jump in there. Since
No, by all means, it's what we're all about, man.
This is the perfect medium for just chaos. Come
We
on a
always
Horror
have
Mafia
chaos.
podcast and talk shit. It's great.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So the shower scene, yeah, definitely classic. The music, yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, that music. I mean, even remember Garth doing it in Wayne's World.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo.
Yep.
What about Mel Brooks doing it in High Anxiety?
yes.
Now I can think about his Beverly D'Angelo though. Sorry, Bill. But that's. I heard she regrets that scene. I'm like, why?
I don't.
I know.
She does nothing for me.
We got a comment from one of our Cuginis. J-Mac, not in the house tonight for Sopranos, but tells us that we need to get your guys set up.
Yes, we do. I was in the studio, man. These guys know what they're doing.
He says your guy shit's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who was that? J-Mac? We're going to throw him some love right there.
Yeah, J-Mac. Holla at the love.
Awesome.
Our love, baby. Ooh.
Now, how about that scene where Norman comes in and he's like, "Oh no, mother blood!" I mean, that's.
It was great in the first one.
I know.
Blood.
How about when he picks up that money and because it's wrapped up in like a newspaper or something, and he throws it in the back? You're like, Norman,
It's gone.
what are you doing? I mean,
You didn't know what it was in the paper.
It sleeps with the fishes.
it does in the swamp behind the motel.
So that just shows you that the movie is a play on futility. Like nothing was resolved with that.
Yeah.
All that money gone. She was murdered. Why? For nothing.
Yep.
Nope.
Whole movie futility.
Not for nothing, for to please the fucking dark side of Norman Bates, aka
Mother.
But she wouldn't have been there had it not been for the money.
True.
Yeah.
true.
But
So
again,
all
it's
that was for nothing.
yeah, it's kind of one of those things that was the first time that type of horror had been portrayed, that just some random crap could just happen to a random person and boom, you're iced for like no reason.
Yep.
So that is truly terrifying.
For that reason, in a movie today, the guy would find the money and be like, "Oh yeah," then it would be like a big caper.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this chick and take her money," but Norman didn't even care. If she
didn't
had
even
money
know.
or not,
It
it
was
didn't
all like-
matter.
Get rid of the evidence, and that's it. Bam.
Yep, he's getting it out of there. Now you guys mentioned earlier that this was based on a book. Now Norman's appearance in like the movie,
yeah.
I didn't think he was like a bad looking dude or creepy, but in the book supposedly he's like a short, kind of stubby guy.
He's blonde and overweight and has acne.
Yeah. So definitely the book was definitely a little different. And then Bill confirmed this. Didn't he like decapitate her or something like that? Like it was like much more gruesome than just, getting stabbed.
I really can't verify that because I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was a little more graphic, but
I know.
Well, it sure was.
I don't care about novelizations. I don't want to hear about books or
No,
letters.
it's not a novelization of the movie. The novel was before the movie.
Yeah.
What's important is what happened in the movie.
That's what I'm telling them. Thank you for that. I have been saying that exactly every time we do these. I don't give two flying fucks what the book said. It's what the movie said.
I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to make a hate parade on you. I love you, man.
Hey, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I was the one that first brought that up. So you just threw,
It's okay if I throw you under the bus. That's
But I just
keep saying it to them.
Well,
keep saying it all the time.
I just thought it was an interesting concept
It is.
that Hitchcock changed
I
that.
never cut you off, and that's why I never cut you off. It's just I don't bring those kinds of issues when I'm looking at the film.
Yeah.
They're
Sure.
fun to discuss, but it's when they're it's not an issue that I use to judge the movie on.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, Don, I agree, man. It's like this is the Norman we all know and love. It's
Yes.
the movie.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's interesting to see why Hitchcock decided to change this in the casting.
Mhm.
But who knows? He did the right choice.
Sure.
Yeah, he probably knew what would work better on film, you know?
Yeah, Perkins is one hell of an actor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you something, because I saw the fucking remake before this one.
Oh, no.
I haven't seen Psycho since I was a teenager, so basically it wasn't a first time watch. I remembered it. I've seen it a couple times when I was younger, but it was the first time watch as an adult, as a father, with a more analytical lens, and like it came out in 1960, right? Like what was going on with the whole like dressing up as a woman thing? Like today, you wouldn't even think twice about something like that, but it definitely had to have an impact some way. Do you guys know anything about this?
Oh yeah, he was a transvestite. He was based on Ed Gein, the character.
Yep. Ed
He
Gein.
was a transvestite.
Yeah.
So he was based off of Gein?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's where the mother fixation comes from.
Now, just for other people that may be watching that don't know, not me, who is Ed Gein?
Nipple belt.
You'll most likely know him as the inspiration behind Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And Hannibal Lecter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
But
pretty-
he's a real life guy?
Yeah.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill, right.
Buffalo Bill. Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry.
Yeah.
He killed a bunch of people in the 1950s.
Gotcha.
And like you said, he was an inspiration.
Yeah.
He likes
Wow.
nipple belts.
And nipple belts, he wore their skin. His mother, he dug up her body and had it like mummified in his room.
Wow. Okay. So so a real guy encompasses like 5 different actual horror movie killers.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Much more terrifying. Thanks, guys. That'll help me sleep later.
Sleep not well tonight.
Yeah.
Just part of my useless serial killer trivia.
Yep.
Stuck in my head.
Well, it's probably going to keep you alive longer than me. I'm going to run into one of these guys and be
Yes,
like,
because
dude,
I
I
would
love your
never
dress.
get in that
That's
fucking
cool.
van in Buffalo Bill.
I love that belt. What is that? Nipple?
Nipple.
Yeah, nipple. What's that picture on the wall? Oh, it's a nipple.
Where'd you get that nipple wallet, bro? There's a-
It's like Party Man Will gave it to me. Get all the chicks with it.
It's a Necronomicon.
Is that Gucci? No, it's Gucci.
It's my neighbor Lucy next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I didn't do too much research on it. So this is interesting because this has such a rich history. It's ridiculous, this film.
Yeah. And
I'm
that's
sure it's been studied in film school till people were blue in the face. We all know how iconic it is. But I mean, I don't know. It's just like I know it's like been done so much that it's like I know. I don't need to see it. Whatever. I've seen it before, but now I never saw any of the sequels. So Norman Bates now has this whole mythology, and I'm like, okay, things became a little more interesting. Not that Psycho's not interesting. I think it's an amazing film, but I only knew Norman for that one role when now he has a television program. He has the other Bates Motel from the 80s that I didn't know about, or 70s.
Oh boy, 80s, but you've.
But you brought
And,
up such a good point about the cross-dressing, though, because at the time, to feature that in a film, do you think people were more focused on the fact that, oh, here's a guy dressing up like a woman, or here's a guy dressing up like his mom, or here's a guy that's killing people? Like, what was the worst factor there? In 1960, it was like, boy, take your pick there.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm sure you're all aware that. What, Don?
I'm just saying, just because I didn't see too many follow-ups playing up the cross-dressing angle.
Yeah.
I would say the mother fixation, because I think that was the more prevalent aspect. Because you see more films that take that concept and run with it rather than the cross-dressing.
You're right. Yeah, that's very true.
Like the twist being that she's not really alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
that was
that's what I'm
pretty
saying,
heavy.
But I think that's the one that actually, because you see more films that take that influence and run with it rather than just the crossdresser.
No, I can see that. Even Friday the 13th, he's so committed to his mom, trying to help his mom, do stuff with his mom.
Right. And
So-
then spoiler alert: the only other cross-dressing one that would come between them would be Dress to Kill.
Oh, that's his take on Psycho, by the way, De Palma.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that That's what I'm saying is that that's like the only other one I can think of that would really play up the cross-dressing angle.
Well,
Man,
yeah.
Donnie, you mentioned Leatherface, man. We got a fan out here. This is so cool. Rich T says his wife used to swim in the lake that was featured in Texas Chainsaw Massacre when she was a kid living in Texas until
Nice.
her parents told her that they filmed the movie there, and she lost her mind and was like, no way am I ever going back in that lake.
Is that the same place where they went swimming in Tourist Trap?
Maybe. Yeah. The guy shows up. Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, girls.
But like you were saying, the very end of the film, the original Psycho, when you see that, you know, Norma Bates is dead, and yeah, like this picture we have right here that El Bandito was just pointing out, like you know, remember even when the officer walks in. And he says, thank you, but it has like a very feminine tone. Yeah. Like he had kind of like broken. Like now he was no longer Norman. He was like permanently Norma. So I always thought that kind of thing was like, even if it would have stopped right there, that was like a perfect ending, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it added to it, Charboil, when it had the discussion in his head about the fly.
Yeah, yeah.
Even had to fly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That
I'll
was
just
brilliant.
sit here.
Just trying to show the scheming side of Mother in his head.
But also the fact that he thinks of himself as Mother. Like, he
Right.
is
Those
Mother.
two separate personalities, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he almost doesn't even have to dress up no more. He's like a permanent part of him.
Yeah.
But and then,
Right.
of course,
It all started once he committed matricide by killing his mother. He became her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took over her persona.
and how about that overlay that they do of a skull, like the final scene in the movie where,
The little quick flash.
Yep,
Yeah.
Was that the mother's corpse over him?
Yeah, I think it's her.
it was,
yeah,
yeah.
her skull, and
Yeah.
then you see the car getting pulled up
Yeah.
from the swamp. So somebody found that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably no good now, but yeah.
Well, who
Let it
knows?
dry
Like,
out.
if you checked out some of the sequels, that could be a number of cars that are down there.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's a really good point.
There's a lot of cars in that little swamp.
Yes.
That's probably why they weren't sinking, because they're just stacked on top of each other.
Stepping closet.
God damn it, get down there.
All right, Donnie, I got a question for you. Donnie,
I'm listening.
how many swamps are there in California?
I don't know, but there's growing swamp ass on me, so there's one.
Any cars in there, man?
Gonna put a car in there, yeah.
Stacked.
So
Yeah, officially, I don't know because I mean, I've never really been through all of California, so
I'll give you a clue, though. Probably none, because it's a dry desert
Yeah.
area.
Somewhat mountainous region.
Full of fires of hell.
But
You
yeah.
just drove it right into the Pacific Ocean, Norman.
yeah.
No, I
right
always
off a
thought about
pier.
that. I'm like, how come there's a swamp in fucking California?
Well, I mean, even given where we're at here in Florida, like to submerge a whole car in, like that's got to be a pretty big area. That's a pretty big lake, a
Yeah,
pretty big
but no,
swamp.
dude,
you know?
Maine has got them. Trust me.
Yeah, but think,
especially
aren't
considering-
swamps like knee high, thigh high?
yeah,
swamps?
think
No,
about a
like Maine is-
1960s car. Those things are like a tank. You know?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, especially trying to house those boats of a car that they had back then.
Yeah.
No, I think in one of the sequels, like, doesn't he actually drive a car into the swamp and like he's underwater and there's
Yeah, I
people?
think
Yeah.
that's 2 or 3.
Yeah. No, I'm jumping a little ahead
What-
there, but
I know he does say it's 12 acres that they live on there. You know, it's 12 acres and they have 12 rooms. You know.
I'm assuming that to be the land of the motel and then the connecting house.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming that to be that that's a swamp, because that's a huge ass swamp if it is.
He had
Yeah,
to
but-
drive to the swamp. Like it wasn't like
Yeah,
that
so I'm
close.
Sure.
assuming that 12 acres. I'm assuming that to be the property of the motel and then the house.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's part of his property, right? So I mean, 12 acres is pretty big. You could hide a
But
pretty
I'm
big
saying
swamp
that's
out
a
there.
huge ass swamp if it's,
Yeah.
That's a huge ass swamp if he's referring to the swamp as 12 acres.
No. His whole property's 12 acres. I just think he could hide a swamp big enough to sink a car in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's if he's referring to the size of the swamp, that's a huge ass swamp.
I gotta ask you guys a question because this has been like irking me since I watched it. Not irking me, but something that I've been thinking about, right?
Okay.
Now, it's so iconic. This movie, a couple of different questions, I guess, are part of this. Number one, is this the perfect film? Number two, this is studied so much, this is looked at so much. Like, do you guys have any negative comments or attributes or things about the film that you want to, mention. And shit, I forgot what the other part was, but yeah, start with that.
Who do you want to start with?
Let's send it to you, BC Billy Babe.
All right. Is it the perfect film of Hitchcock's, I'll say, or do you mean in general?
In general, because I mean, this is, like I said, look at the way it's been, mimicked throughout the past 50 plus years,
Idolized, yeah. My answer is no, it's not the perfect movie. I will say it does drag in some parts, especially with Sam Loomis in the beginning, and there's some stuff here and there I didn't think was like really well shot. However, there were some shots where, like, when Norman kills the detective, the private eye, and he's falling down the stairs. To this day, I don't know how he pulled that shit off. And the fact that it took 72 cuts in edits to make that shower scene.
Yeah.
It's great, yes. Is it perfect? No. To me, a perfect film is like Goodfellas.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
So
All
not
right.
perfect. What was the other question? Part two of that? Oh, and, all right. Let me add to that.
You answered it. What would some
no.
of the negative flaws?
I know, but negative flaws, right. But do you want to know a perfect film from Hitchcock? I could tell you. It's called Rope. And the movie is done in one take.
Wow.
That is a fucking perfect movie.
The whole hour and however long it is one take.
One take.
Wow.
That's pretty sick.
One long giant scene, like camera following everybody around.
And it's about hiding a dead body in a trunk during a party.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll have to put that one on the list, man.
Oh,
that
yeah.
sounds cool.
Now I want
Yeah.
to.
To me, that's better of a film than this. But I love Psycho, yeah.
Like, at the time, like, were plot twists really that big of a thing yet? That was like one of the most iconic plot twists, right? Like,
Yeah.
1960. I mean, I'm not, very versed in film before that, but,
I think the first one has always been assumed to have been Mark of the Vampire from 1935. That's always been considered to be the first film with a plot twist.
I'm sorry, which film was it? You were under the water.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I've said that the first plot twist in a horror film is always assumed to have been Mark of the Vampire.
Oh, Mark of the Vampire, good call.
Yeah, I think that's always been assumed to be the first.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I've always heard that to be the first one with a plot twist.
I would
don't know.
take your word for that, sir.
Because I don't know too many others from the 20s or 30s before it that would have had one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the big twist there is that there's a vampire named Mark. That's crazy.
Mark the Vampire.
So,
Holy shit, Chavez fucking blew my mind. All right.
Well,
yeah.
what about some of you other guys? What do you think about this film, Donnie?
I'm with Bill there. I think Sam drags this down. I'm not a huge fan of what he does to the film, because all he does is he just basically stands around and pout. He doesn't really do much. So I don't think he actually does much to the film. I think it's actually much stronger with Vera looking for her sister.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the guy from the Twilight Zone episode when he walks into his old town when he was a kid.
Is that Walking Distance?
Yeah, Walking Distance. Yep.
Yeah.
He reminds me of that guy. But yeah, I think that's a good point there, Don. He does definitely. I don't know. He's kind of like a wet rag.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he doesn't really do much, and the only thing he does is really keep Norm from actually knifing her at the end.
Under the sea.
And that's like
Under the
really all he does.
I thought I lost internet for a second. He froze on my computer.
Then he has the fucking audacity to marry her sister after she dies.
I wasn't going to bring that up to the sequel, but I was kind of like, damn. Hey, you had one. How about the other? Oh, my gosh.
Well,
And you
speaking
don't-
of the sequel, what do you guys think? You guys want to give our individual final thoughts on the film and rate it? Because I think we could just keep talking around this like we're locking on a fucking vacuum or something.
Yeah. There's so much to be said about the original. Let's wrap that up. I think that's a good idea.
I think it's time to start the wisecracks.
All right, so we'll start off with you, Charboil. What's your rating on this?
Charboil.
All right. So what's the rating scale?
We go to 10, and we do half-seas and quarter points.
Okay.
As Dawn does.
I would have to give the original Psycho an 8 because it just had so much influence on me when I was a kid. Like just seeing it and not knowing anything about it. Like it's something that I'll never forget. One day I hope to show it to my children before like they ever know anything about it. So I just think it's a great film, but not a perfect film. It's just got that. I'd say the classic legacy to it is why I would give it a rating of an 8.
All right, El Bandito.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, but I think I hate to say 7, but I think I'm going to go 7 only for the fact that I 100% agree with you. I think its contribution to film is legendary. I mean, it did so much for the genre. It did so much for filmmaking in general that it will live on forever and be this like awesome thing that like a lot of new movies will always be put up against. But like we were talking with Bill earlier this week, the way an audience is trained to absorb information has changed so much over the years that it's become more and more fast-paced. So when you actually watch like the remake, which I know we're not really talking about, but it's a good example to say, watch the remake with modern-day actors, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Why is this so slow? And it's just that difference between the way they made movies and how that's evolved. So its rewatchability kind of suffers. So I'm going to go with the 7 on that one.
All right, T.
I'm a little higher than everybody else so far. I love this movie. It does have its flaws. Like when he's stabbing Janet Leigh in the shower, you don't see any stab wounds. All
Or
you see is the
nipples.
blood. So nowadays you're like, what is she dying of? Her period? But I do love it, and I did go with a 9.
All right, Bill.
Yeah, between the excuse me, the acting ability of Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh supposedly being the big star and dying in the first 15 minutes, shit like that, how great this film is, I still can't say as low as 7. I'm going to go with a 9.25.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, wow. I'm actually blown away by the 7 and the 8 right there.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I watched this one Saturday night with my buddy, and we were watching. We had the kids; they were upstairs playing, and we were watching it. And I was like, "Kids? What kids?" It's this kind of film that I think it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna pop Psycho on right now and do it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of these films it's more, I guess nowadays might be considered literary, where you would take it into a classroom, you would dissect it, scene by scene, look at the themes, right? All this stuff, you can pick it apart. It's phenomenal on that level. But does it hold up? Is the rewatchability there? I don't know, right? I just watched it. I'm not looking to watch it again, although that could be because I'm sequeled out, right? But if I ever watch Psycho again, would I survive? Yeah. If I never got to watch Phantasm again, Nightmare on Elm Street, no, I would be very devastated. So it's nowhere near as those. I'm right under Bill. Let's go with a strong 9.
Nice.
Yeah, and no, I'm just right there with you, man. 9 for me as well. It's a lot of fun, great stuff about it. I think the historical legacy is a lot more important than the film itself singularly.
Agreed.
So I think that kind of is what holds it up. But yeah, it's still a great film. I have no issue with this. I'm saying 9.
Well, by all means, guys, we definitely want to say, or at least for me, a very respectful 8.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but you know what Bandito said? I never even thought about that. And, I didn't watch it recently, but I remember watching the original Psycho and just thinking about the color versus the black and white alone.
Right.
It automatically takes you out and takes you away from it.
Yeah, the black and white's better. It's perfect.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
what's funny is, like, let me ask you guys: are you guys rating this against horror movies or every movie ever made ever?
I'm just rating it as a movie generally.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, in my general opinion, this thing would be like a 10 against every other horror movie.
Yeah.
But as other movies go, it's just going to kind of get edged out a bit. I'm going to hold to my 7, but that's just me.
Well, that's all right. It's all taste, man.
Definitely. Like I said, it's
Hey,
not
says the guy
something-
that
it's-
put
it's not-
Shark.
Oh, yeah,
Says the
let-
guy
no.
that has Sharknado over the Godfather.
Now, before we go jumping into Psycho 2, there is a quick story I wanted to share with you guys. Can I throw that out there real quick?
Hell yeah.
Well, it was probably around 1973 or so. As you guys know, or at least we've mentioned before in previous shows, my father and Bill's father actually went to police academy in New York City together. So they were policemen there. And my dad was walking a beat in New York City. And he sees a guy, and he's like, I know that guy. And he goes, man, that's Anthony Perkins. So he goes up to him and he says, hey, Tony Perkins, how you doing? He's never met him before in his life or anything, but, that's how it is in New York City, And he goes, oh, he's very nice and shook his hand. Oh, I'm doing well. He goes, he was wearing like a Navy kind of, shirt, and he goes, oh, are you auditioning for a role? And he said, oh, well, yeah, I'm kind of in between some jobs. Things have been kind of light lately. And he goes, really? For you? He goes, yeah, man, that whole Psycho thing kind of really messed up my career. So, yeah, it turns out that, even 13 years after, the movie was released, Anthony Perkins was having a hard time getting work.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't tell you another movie he was in besides the sequels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he did some TV stuff.
He's got all that restaurant money, though, right?
Funny.
Perkins.
Yes. Oh, Perkins, I get that.
It's in the swamp.
Their
No,
waffles
no,
are
I
the
get
bomb.
Oh, man. But, I just wanted to throw that in there before we jumped into the sequel time,
Oh, no, we're not jumping right in. I believe we're going to be taking a break. Is that correct?
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Yes, we are. Yeah, so we'll take a little break and come back with the Psycho 2.
All right, guys. Cool.
We'll be here entertaining
Yeah.
our fans with our own special blend of vaudevillian acting.
Okay, we're still here hanging. Bill's just got to go smoke.
Okay.
You guys continue to do your thing, man, for your fans. We'll be right back. I'll be right back.
We see Mr. Don
Yeah.
Fox is joining us out there, man. We're stoked to have you in the house tonight. We're talking to
Don
the
Fox?
Don Fox is here. Look at that. Bill's like, I'm not going anywhere.
Whoa. My Don Fox?
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoa.
And guess what, Bill? You got to check out his brand new store just up the road from Captain Joel's, where he sells
out.
magic and has magic tournaments and other card games and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's Don Fox you speak.
Oh, he's a good friend of mine. Does he still do Dark Tower stuff?
Yeah, he does, man. He's totally into it. But I know this magic stuff has taken him over. I don't play magic, so I don't super relate. But I've been to the store. It's gorgeous, man. I've seen the way he runs tournaments and things, so structured, and they're all sanctioned and stuff like that. So really cool stuff.
Throw Don some love for me, please.
You
Oh,
got it.
yeah.
Throwing Don Fox some love right there.
Miss that guy.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back. I'll be right back.
No problem.
You never say that in a horror movie.
There you go.
I'll be right back.
It's okay. It's too hot for serial killers outside in Florida.
Wait, did the
Tell that
camera
to Ted Bundy.
did the camera just cut to Bill's empty room? That was freaky.
I think his chair was moving or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I have to say, Bandito probably rating Psycho as an 8. I was kind of like, I want to make sure I was not giving any disrespect out there to any of the other, horror movie fans.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, I've said Shining is a 5, so I'm used to it. It's like
What'd you rate a 5?
The Shining.
Oh, The Shining.
Okay.
Ask
Yeah.
him what he gave Mother.
Now, see, I guess that could have been a question we would ask before we actually gave our rating on, like, maybe a few examples on, what you guys have rated high and what's been rated like.
That's all right.
Medium.
When we,
It's personal experience. It's whatever you feel comfortable
Cool.
rating it. That's what you rate it. Yeah.
Cool.
As long as if you can back it up, I have no issue with what you're saying. I may disagree with it, but I have no issue with you saying it.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like one of my all-time favorite movies, I would be like 2012 Avengers. Very recent film, but to me, because it means so much to me, I could watch this movie all day, every day on a loop. You know what I mean?
And my thing has always been, as long as you can back up what you're saying, I don't care what your rating is. If you can back up what you're rating, you can back up. If you say a rating and you say because of this, this, and this,
yeah,
I'm fine with that. I don't care what you rate anything.
We're like Psycho 3, 10, 11 out of 10.
No spoilers yet, man. We're not there yet. We're not there.
I think they just kick us off the show. They just disconnect. Get rid of these
Gotta
chuckleheads.
go. But no, that was really cool. No, I like talking about Psycho. Like I said, definitely a big. There's a couple other movies, that as a kid watching them. Look, there we go. We got another chair cam.
Hell, we do.
But like Them. Do you ever see that movie, man? The
Them?
movie Them. It was about the
No.
giant ants.
Mm-mm.
It was from like the 19.
Oh yeah.
Old ass
I
movie?
see. Yeah, from 54.
Yeah. All I remember is there was like the drunk and the thing, and he's like, "Give me the captain, or give me the booze, make me the captain," or so, like jumping around in his bed. But yeah, these giant ants, like they get mutated,
Okay.
and then they had started attacking this town. So yeah, it's an old school
Yeah.
monster film. But that was another one that I remember my dad showing me. But the other film would be The Creature from the Black Lagoon. That was just
That's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another good one. I like that one.
Yeah, actually, I think all the old Universal ones, but Creature, that was like me and my dad's like personal favorite.
All right. While we're on break tangent, man, and you're bringing up these Universal creatures, what do you guys think about Universal's new stuff? Did anyone see The Mummy or anything like that?
I tried it, but my DVR rejected it, saying I don't want this shit.
I've only seen the Brendan Fraser one.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I didn't mind the ones with Brandon Fraser, but yeah, this Tom Cruise stuff, like, yeah, that looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it was just kind of funky, man. Like almost like a you're trying too hard kind of thing.
Well, here's the thing: The Mummy is the one that's supposed to have kicked it off.
Yeah.
Why is that the first one? You
Yeah.
know, there's like 3 or 4 other films that you can build this universe around, and yet you're using The Mummy as the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say he's the most popular of that little group. You know, if you want to talk about Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, and The Mummy, I don't even.
Yeah, that's
I don't even think Mummy's top
Bottom of
2.
the
You know?
Just think about his role in Monster Squad.
Yeah, he was a joke.
He always gets the shit end of the stick.
Literally tied it to the thing. Gets unraveled.
But I mean, I get it. He's an ancient Egyptian prince or king usually, so it's royalty. So I guess there's some play we could get with that, but I don't know. It just seems weird.
what I'm saying. Is that to me, it's just that kind of a universe. Just it speaks to having a different character leading it off.
Yeah.
If they're trying to bring in like 4 or 5 different entities, and yet you're using the Mummy as the launching pad, that's kind of like I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought like that Dr. Jekyll one, whatever that Russell Crowe guy is. I would have figured his story would have been the launching pad because he's the one that's trying to bring them together, right? That's like the whole gist of the film.
Yeah, he was kind of like their Nick Fury,
Yeah.
He was getting the team together.
Like,
so
that's the launching pad right there. Why are you bringing in the Mummy? That's like movie 3 or 4 in the franchise.
Yeah, super weird, man. But also too, like, I mean, take a movie that didn't do very well, right? The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But they at least knew they had to have someone that was mostly normal to wrap the movie around. And they got another empty room. That's so weird. But, then here in The Mummy, it's like we're wrapping it around Tom Cruise because he's supposed to be the normal guy. I'm not sure a lot of people look at Tom Cruise and think like, oh, he's just like me.
Right.
I'm not into Scientology and aliens running my.
I'm not a pretty boy. I don't run everywhere I go.
I don't jump on
It's like-
Oprah's couch.
What I told Joey a few weeks ago when we were asking about this, I am not in the kind of shape to be doing those kinds of stunts. Okay, I am not going to be a person that's going to be running around imitating these kinds of stunts and action stuff that I see on TV. Okay, I am not in that kind of shape.
Mm-hmm.
I've accepted that. I'm fine with it. It's it's not going to happen. So.
Well,
Yeah.
I can separate the artist from the art, so yeah. So yeah, I like Tom Cruise as a character in movies. I don't like him as a person.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
but the Mummy, Bill.
What's that?
The Mummy.
Haven't seen it.
Okay. Are you like super stoked to check it?
The Mummy movie? No.
That's what we're saying. It's hard to buy Tom Cruise as the everyman, the protagonist, the kind of Luke Skywalker character who's the normal guy we're going to take this journey with. It's
No,
just
but I like seeing him on screen, so I don't care. I mean,
Okay.
I'll watch him in movies.
yeah, no, me too. But he should be like the badass guy, like the Ethan Hunt who knows everything and kicks ass. Like, just my opinion, but
I agree. No, I get you. But I don't hate the guy because he's a Scientologist, so.
no, I don't hate him, but I will make fun of him. So.
I hate him because he jumped on Oprah's couch.
I'm totally.
Get him.
He was totally pulling a Dave Chappelle there, and I
I
think
know.
nobody got it.
I gotta say one thing. I'm sorry, guys. I have to apologize to the people out there watching on video. I told you they don't sell 30 packs here in Florida, so I had to settle for a 24 pack. So now I'm drinking whatever was left in my garage here. My garage, Michelob Ultra.
Hey, I like Michelob Ultra. It's okay.
Okay.
No, it's
Decent.
water. It's alcoholic water.
Yeah.
There you go.
Vinegar with some alcohol in it, but all right.
All right.
All right, let's,
I'm telling you right now,
We're
I'm falling asleep. So it's been a long day.
we're gonna have to get Bill some of that Fin du Monde that me and Mr. Fusion were drinking. That stuff was awful, Bill. We'll have to send you that.
All right.
I need some like Four Locos or something right now. Keep me going.
They sell that.
if you want to make a coffee, we can.
Nah,
wait a few
I'm already souped up on too much coffee. I've just been up since 5 in the morning.
Well, I'll tell you what. How about this? How about we just dive right into Psycho 2 and get this train rolling? How's that sound?
Let's
I
do it.
love it.
All right.
Don's still here, right? Don Fox.
I think Don may not be here. I'm not 100%. I think he left. Yes.
All right.
Let's do it.
And we are back. Our next film of the evening, 1983's Psycho 2.
All right. Psycho 2, 1983, June 3rd, it dropped. Pre-summer kickoff off the DB. After 22 years of psychiatric care, Norman Bates attempts to return to a life of solitude, but the specters of his crimes and his mother continue to haunt him. Written by Tom Holland, directed by Richard Franklin.
All right.
All right. So let's go first impressions. Bill, let's start with you.
This is one of the first movies I saw in a theater that blew my mind with twists.
Ah,
How about that?
you were probably twisting up some blow in the 80s.
Say hello to my little friend.
I was 13, so probably not.
Wow. All right. I got to give my initial thoughts. This is my first time watch. And all I've been seeing is people posting about Psycho 2. Oh, it's one of the best sequels and all this shit. And I'm watching it and I'm like, what is it, like one of those movies that's so bad it's good? I don't know. I'm not getting it. Maybe that shit went over my head, man. I was underwhelmed.
Okay.
All right. T, let's go with you.
I'm the opposite of Joey. I was overwhelmed. Wow. I was blown away.
I can't believe this shit.
This is my second time watch, actually.
Believe it, baby.
Yep.
Was this supposed to be like a black comedy?
Well, can I say I agree with Joey, right? Like, when I was watching this movie, knowing that there's 2 more movies after it, you know, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, this doesn't make any sense. What are they trying to convince me of? Because I'm not buying it. And it just didn't make any sense until it gets to the very end. And then you're like, oh, okay, I see what you guys were going with. But boy, that's a hard pill to swallow, knowing that they made sequels.
I just thought, like, everybody's an idiot. This girl's an idiot.
I know.
Fucking Anthony Perkins. I mean, Norman Bates. Not Anthony Perkins. Norman Bates is an idiot.
Yeah.
The fucking guy running the diner is an idiot. I was like, I think that the plot twists were interesting.
Yes.
But I was just so removed from the movie. Like, is this supposed to be like bad acting done well? Is it supposed to be so bad it's good? I wasn't connected here, guys.
See, now, after extensive talking with Senor Bull here, after the movie was over, and I'm kind of like trying to wrap my head around this, he kind of broke it down for me, Joey, and I think it's in a way that might help it make a little more sense for you, right? So imagine seeing that movie when there is no sequels after it. There's no 3 and no 4. You don't know, is he really a killer or not? So you're supposed to go in there thinking, oh, yeah, it's totally Norman, through most of the movie until the end, and the twist is like, it's not him. And then you're like, oh, okay, it's not him. And then bam, he kills someone, and you're like, holy shit, what's going on? I could see it really being a roller coaster if you don't know that there's a 3 and 4 where he's a killer, you know?
Right. Like, I think, you know, that last scene was awesome, and I think that's actually a great point that you're making, because I know 3's coming, I know 4's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that shot, I was just like, oh, okay. You know? I mean, that was cool. You know, the gore was cool in this movie. That fucking knife to the
through the yeah.
Oh shit.
I'd have to say my first impression was it was probably 2 years after I'd seen the original, so I was a little older, but still definitely young, and I was at one of the old school VHS stores, kind of, had the little, pornography section in the back, but of course I hung out in the, horror section. I saw it and I said, dude, there's a Psycho 2. I'm like, man, I can't wait to rent this so I could show my dad, so I rent it. He ain't coming home till late, so I decided to watch it. So yeah, I watched the whole thing, and yeah, I just loved it. I was just so I was like, man, I can't wait to show dad this. And he gets home and I tell him, hey, I found Psycho 2. He's like, I never wanted to watch that, man. He's like, it ain't gonna be as good as. I was like, no, come on, let's sit down and watch it. And we watched it, and it didn't live up to his expectations, but I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I mean, he just was like, oh man, this isn't what I remember.
Yeah.
He was a kid sitting in that seat in the theater, but I loved it then. I still love it now. So I'm definitely with Bill and Tanya on that. That I think it's a great film.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I'm a huge fan of this one too. I do think this is sort of where I think my main issue with the series starts to come in. It gets extrapolated later, and we can talk about it then. But it's just, I think this is a one-note joke that the franchise runs on, and I don't think it plays with it really well. But it's starting to become more and more apparent what it actually is. And that's, he's still influenced by his mom. Yeah. Okay. And that's sort of like where the franchise is. And you can see it here. I mean, I love the stuff here that the way it does it, where, you get the phone calls and, he's talking to his mother. Yeah. And I mean, that works, but then they play it 2 and 3 times and it's kind of like, okay. And I think that's sort of where I think, like the later sequels, I think that they play with that way too much. So I think it's sort of like, I think it's already starting to wear a little thin somewhat. Mm-hmm. And it's like way too long as it is.
Yeah.
Like this should be like maybe an hour and 40, 45.
I think what really would have worked for me was if they tried to sell more that Norman thought he was the killer. Because I kind of really didn't get that sense. Like, he seemed confused, and to me, he should have seemed like he thought he was killing people and had to stop himself.
He did. El Bandito, man, at the end, he said,
yeah, I
killed that couple in the basement.
Right.
I buried their, remember, he said he thought he did.
Right. By the end of the movie, he's kind of laying it all out, but I I didn't get the concept in the first half that he thought this was really him. Like I felt like
when he becomes mother, he loses all recollection of what happens.
Sure, but
so he doesn't know. He really believed, I killed them and I feel horrible.
Yeah, I just felt like an audience member. Like I was like, okay, they're giving us enough clues to think it's not him, but he seems like it. Does he think it's him? So it just got a little muddled to me. I think it just could have been a little cleaner.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm coming from. That's what I'm coming from with that is the franchise is playing this one note joke way too long.
Yeah, I'm totally opposite on there. I think the whole aspect of this movie is he's not sure himself, and we, the audience, aren't sure. And we're giving all these little clues left and right, and we're not sure. And we're like, what the fuck's really going on?
and plus the notes that he keeps finding.
Yeah. Well, I think on a rewatch, too, like you kind of see how much care they took into not revealing
the fact, right?
Yeah.
So presenting it to us too.
Yeah, but again, for someone who's like, I know there's going to be another movie where I presume he's a killer all the time. I'm like, what are they trying to get me to buy? Am I supposed to be thinking he is or he isn't the killer? So it was so confusing in that aspect that I was just like, the shit's going on.
my thing was,
maybe that's the point.
I like the concept. I think the writing here is great. Like as a script, I think if this had a more serious tone and like, I don't know, he would just be like cartoonish rather than creepiest and macabre like in the original. So I'm looking at him and it's almost like, I'm just like this goofy cartoon character now. I'm Norman Bates versus being like Norman fucking Bates.
Yeah, didn't that guy look like he could cook a killer breakfast though?
Oh yeah, like I want that to be my friend's dad when I'm a kid, waking up, sleeping over the house on a Saturday, like making bacon and eggs with his fucking little fucking brown off-colored jacket with elbow patches.
Just don't have any of the tea.
Toasted cheese sandwiches.
Cheese. And milk.
And milk. See, I'm not gonna say this wasn't an entertaining film.
Yeah.
Because it was entertaining, that's for sure. It just was fucking like. I was not expecting this. I thought it was going to be like a more of a straightforward slasher.
Yeah.
Versus, I guess what Don is saying is definitely evident. Like a running, I guess, joke. Like, Psycho. 23 years later, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but what's
as like a cerebral film.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going on, and then 3 becomes the slasher movie.
Yeah, but it's so much of film watching encompasses expectation. Hype, anticipation of a film, what you're thinking when you walk in can sway your whole decision one way or the other sometimes in some movies. And I think I just got caught in this trap in this one, that I too was expecting the kind of slasher flick. Like, this should be full-on Norman Bates going mad out here. But it really wasn't. And then you're like, oh, it's not him. Okay, well then what the hell am I watching?
I wanted to see him like trick everybody and get back to his old deeds.
Now again, when you jump to 3, that's kind of what you're getting is that slasher flick. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
We'll get there in a few minutes. But
now, what about Meg Tilly's shower scene?
Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
We can throw some love out there.
Still does nothing for me.
You know what? I gotta say, I do find her sister better looking than her. God damn that shower scene.
Yeah.
That was a pretty awesome shower scene.
I did not know that Meg had a sister, and now that I do, my shower scenes play out a lot different.
Like, I see her coddling, Norman Bates, and I'm just like, oh my God, what the hell? Dude,
she feels badly because they're trying to make him crazy.
I understand the logic and the motives for everything.
Joey, you should Joey this.
No, it could definitely be Joey. I know, but it's just, I don't know. I just felt like I was watching like a wonky movie. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely with Joey on the concept of less was more when it came to Norman. Like, he did seem so animated in the second movie, and like he had so much more personality that I guess it's supposed to be his incarceration, his time in a mental institution. They've tried to pull a personality out of him, and I guess that's what we're supposed to be going with. But it was just very shocking. It was like just jumping into ice water,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how about them getting back, of course, Anthony Perkins, but also Vera Miles, original actors and actors. I thought that was a really cool, thing that they were able to do, get them back.
And not only that, but giving them an actual logical reason to be there, because that's an actually compelling storyline for them.
Yeah.
I think that.
Come on, guys. Innocent blood.
But apparently they're all just wandering around New York, can't get any work anyways. So.
I'm not sure what Vera was up to, but yeah, Anthony probably was he was probably like, yes, another at that point.
And then he bumps into like Jennifer Tilly. He's like, "Oh, talk to my sister."
Yeah, there you go. I mean, and of course, Mrs. Spool is introduced early in the film, which I thought they did great. Keeping her under the radar.
Yeah.
Dude, but she was there the whole time. Right?
I know,
in the
but
background, you watch her look.
Yep.
Dude, definitely last 5 minutes of that film, 10 out of 10. Last 5 minutes were just mind blowing.
Yeah. That ending was awesome. It was definitely entertaining.
Yep.
I mean, I think the very, very end. I mean, spoilers are up if you haven't seen Psycho 2.
Come on, the movie's 30 years old. All right.
Fucking. I'm your real mother now.
Yeah.
Burned.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And you see him snap when she tells him that.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah.
See him like, what? Oh.
Do you guys think Mr. Toomey was really wrong in his choice to turn that into a party motel?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dennis Franz, guys.
Yeah, he was the best part of this movie.
Hey, yo, Psycho.
The naked scene.
Yeah, he calls him Psycho. He's Psycho.
Yeah, hey, Psycho, I'm leaving. I know you would think that someone that is dealing with someone that's been in the institution for 22 years would be a little less.
Don't antagonize him.
What are you gonna do there, Psycho?
I'll tell you who's running. Oh, it kind of makes money. Whiskers and drugs.
Yeah. What do you call this, Mr. Toomey? I'd say it looks like drugs. Oh, man. Sorry, I know we were kind of going towards the end there, and I'm like, hey, what about Toomey? We got to talk about Toomey.
Man. I love Dennis Franz in this movie.
Such a sleazeball. It was great. Yeah. But yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely that ending.
You could do some social commentary, get psychological, talk about how Vera Miles' character is really the fucking sick sadistic, twisted one, and then the daughters, the saving grace and all this kind of shit. And it's just, I can see it all there.
Yeah,
but I'm just
fucking irony, man.
I'm just removed from it.
No, I'm trying to point out something. First of all, in the first movie, Vera Miles played Lila, the hero of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So how ironic is that she's the villain of this movie?
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
That's fucking awesome, man.
No,
you gotta give credit for that.
it totally works. It totally works, but that expectation will just F somebody up if they're going in here thinking, there's a 3 and a 4, so this guy's a psycho killer.
Right.
And then,
I didn't see 3 or 4.
Yeah.
This movie is on the theater, so.
Yeah. But
the tone here is totally off. So I'm like, okay, Psycho franchise. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I hear they got a crazy ending. Psycho 2, underrated gem, all this stuff. So I go in and I'm like, oh shit, and what is it? Again, to me, as a first time watch in 2018, this plays off like a dark comedy.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
All right, how about this, Joe? All right, who directed this movie again?
Richard Franklin.
I think
Richard Franklin.
Right. I was asking John. I want Joe to notice something. Joe, remember the scene where Robert Loggia dies?
Yeah.
Didn't that look scene for scene from the first movie with the private eye?
No, it looked like a joke when he fell and it got dig deeper into him.
Oh, I loved it. Really? Oh, I was trying to get you to agree with me there.
Don't get me wrong. It looked great. It was, it was like a nice kill, but it was just like it didn't look
example
serious.
Of the first movie.
It didn't look serious. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I
looked like slasher gore, and I like that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
No, I know, but
it wasn't
great.
That's the major issue I have, and that's again like Bandito was saying, it's expectations.
Yeah.
If I saw this in '83, follow up to Psycho in the middle of the slasher craze, I might have looked at it differently.
Yeah.
But again, slasher subgenre is not one of my favorites, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
Especially at the time, like you're saying, when all these other slasher movies are what's out there, and here they put out something that should be a slasher movie, bam, twist, it's not. Like, on paper, everything about this movie is brilliant. It really is. But the rewatch for me is going to be where it's at. Like, this is a movie that I'm like, I got to watch this again because I didn't really get where it was coming from the first time through. So I think it might be a lot better on a rewatch when your expectation shifts a little bit. So we'll have to see on that one.
Right, I already know what to expect. Maybe if I come at it with a different lens on.
Yeah.
You know, I might appreciate it more. Might have a better experience.
Yeah, because on paper, when you look at it, it sounds brilliant, you know?
Oh, it does. It does. That's what I mean. Like, you know, the writing here I think is great. You know, it's just the execution. Wow. And it's very 80s drama-esque, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like a John Hughes moment. And I love John Hughes shit, you know what I mean? But like, I want to keep that in 16 Candles. I want to keep that in that genre. I don't want that in Psycho 2. You know what I mean?
Well, how about that final moment though, where you know he's put Mother in her chair and he's going outside, and you see the Bates Motel sign, and Mother's in the window, and that's where it ends. Like, to me, it's like that's like a perfect circle. Like, they didn't even need to make more movies. Like, it's just like it ended where it began. Like, I don't know. I just really loved that ending.
Boyle got it right.
It just, like I said, maybe it's nostalgia too. Like, it's very interesting to hear from folks who had never seen this and then watched it in 2018. But yes, when I watched this as a kid, I was like mind blown. I was like, oh, I can't wait to show this to my dad.
How about this? How about the fact that this movie, there was actually a book by Robert Bloch called Psycho 2, which was nothing like this at all. In that book, he actually had Norman hitchhiking, and he got picked up, you know, by some guy who's hitchhiking, and you think like he kills the guy and drives off and does something. No, Norman got picked up by a psycho who killed him.
Oh man!
Oh man!
And you think it's Norman the whole time, and he's dead.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
Yeah,
it's like totally different than what this had. I was like, whoa!
There's your twist right there.
That's the Psycho 2 I want to see.
But you know what? That's like Psycho 2 biggest Psycho.
Bigger Psycho. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. It kills Norman with a taser.
And then in the third movie, it's Psycho Resurrected, and Norman comes back as an undead zombie. And
see, now I'm liking this, because then we get Psycho 4, Psycho in Space.
Yes.
I still like Jason X.
Makes a cameo.
Jason X for the win.
Star Trek DS9.
We all go a little crazy sometimes in space.
Clark is killing everybody.
But yeah, hey, I like I said, I think, you know, Psycho 2 rocks. Jerry Goldsmith does the score. You know, great music. I really dig that film.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into ratings. Joe, first time watch. Let's start with you.
Right, first time watch. I know I've been talking like I hate the movie. I don't hate the movie. My expectations were not met. Doesn't mean it was a terrible movie. Doesn't mean it was a bad movie. Doesn't mean it was a good movie or a great movie. I think it was an entertaining film. I think it definitely has depth that could be looked at. But I think my blockers were on because of expectations and the tonal shift here. You know, when you watch Psycho and then the next day you watch Psycho 2 right after it, you're like, for the first time in 2018, you're like, huh? What? This is the movie? Like, you know, we're talking about cartoon Bates here. So, you know, all in all, I want to go with a solid 7. I think that the plot twists were great. I think the writing is great. And there are some good moments of acting, although there are some horrible moments of acting. But, you know, I'm watching this and, man, I'm like, fucking people are idiots. Like, this girl's an idiot for going with Norman. Norman's an idiot for bringing this girl and tending himself.
No, she was primed to go there.
I understand that. When I saw the film in the first 20 minutes, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. You're like, oh, she's dumb for going with him.
Yes, that's what I'm like.
Her whole life to go with him.
What? And I'm saying to myself, like, what is? There's got to be a reason why she's going. You know, there's got to be a reason, not just because she's out on the street. Her whole thing with her friend and all that. There was some kind of red herring throwing me.
Joey, and you see it in her face when he's like telling her, "Come on," and she's like, you can see her like really doesn't want to do it because she thinks he's crazy, but then remembers, oh God, my mom says I have to, so she's like, no, okay. You see that, dude?
I love it how you guys are like, guys, don't feel bad about your your low ratings. And Joey's like, I'm gonna give this a low rating. You're wrong, Joey. I'm gonna tell you how wrong your rating is.
It's not bad acting though. It's like she's like conflicted because she was primed and like rehearsed all this shit from birth, so she knew she had to. But she also thought, oh shit, I'm in danger. I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So you see that? It's like
I see it. Like I said, I think script wise, it's great. I just think it comes off, too poppy, too Hughesy, and again, I love 80s John Hughes shit. It's just like, like I was just waiting for like Dreamweaver, I believe it can get me. To come on, like what? It was like, dude, no. Just it wasn't what I was expecting. Definitely was not. Again, doesn't mean it was. I gave it a 7. Bill, what more do you want? 7.5? You really want to fucking 9? I'll give you a 9.
All right, T, your rating?
Totally opposite of what Joey has to say. I love the twists and turns. I wasn't confused when I realized what is it Mary, I think her name was the daughter.
Yeah, Mary.
And her mother was trying to do. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Because she just wants him back in jail and not in jail, but back in the.
She would do anything to have him put back in jail, including murder. And
right.
using her own fucking daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fucking brilliant. And you see the notes and you're like.
But the notes weren't her though.
Right.
It was the other one, Spool.
But I didn't know that the first time. This is my second time watch. I caught it the second time. I was like, oh, it's not them. It's actually Mrs. Spool that's doing it. And I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
I don't know. The second time watch really put my rating still back up there where it was, and I really love this film. I went with a 9.5.
Nice.
Jesus. So 9.5 out of 10 for Psycho 2.
Yeah, I really loved it more than I did Psycho.
Interesting.
High five, Tanya.
Thank you. Woo. Virtual.
Oh right. Man, I feel like Bill's gonna jump through this monitor and kick my ass in a minute.
No, I'm expecting us to switch over to Bill, and suddenly he's wearing like a wig and a
Erotic.
All right, Bill, your rating?
Yeah, I'm gonna flat out fucking. This movie blew me away. The acting I don't think was bad at all. The fucking script was amazing. Everything about this. I'm one of these people who think that this is a better sequel than the original. This to me is Aliens. This to me is Godfather 2.
Aliens? What are you out of your fucking board?
I love Aliens.
Aliens.
Save it for when we cover the Alien franchise. Save it for that.
Yeah,
I'm never covering the Alien franchise. I did that on Death by Podcast. I ain't doing it again. Fucking made us quit the show.
I am rating this a 10.
Nice.
This is my favorite sequel of all
Holy
time.
shit, you just went to Don Sharknado level.
I did. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is much better than Sharknado, guys. Sorry, Don.
All right, El Bandito, let's go with you.
Oh shit, you put me on the chopping block already, huh?
I can't wait for it.
5.5, Charboil.
Whoa.
5.5. Charboil.
It's all right. I got your back, bro.
Okay, so.
All right. I want to explain a little bit.
Go
all
ahead.
right. Now, definitely still giving it a 5.5 because I don't want it anywhere close to Psycho. I think that rating can get better, though. I think Bill's absolutely right that this movie is so cerebral that I did not give it any credit when I actually watched it and was so checked out through most of the cerebral stuff, thinking it was just red herring and bullshit, that I kind of missed what the movie was actually about. So I need to sit down and watch this again. But the one time I did watch it, I was so confused and checked out. Gotta go 5.5 for now.
Understood,
You definitely
bro.
need the second time watch because second time watch really
It sounds like it makes
Clicks it all in.
Yeah.
So I guess you got to be a guest to not get your balls broken.
How many movies?
What do you mean?
It's okay. It's more like that El Bandito guy doesn't know what he's talking about anyways. Who cares what he rates it? His ratings are worthless.
El Bandito. How many fucking movies brain a 70-year-old woman at the end of the theater?
Dude, like I said, last 2 minutes, 10 out of 10. That was beautiful. And that woke me up, and I was like,
Oh my God,
I was like, Charboil,
brilliant.
explain this movie to me, because I think I missed something, because that final scene made no sense, but was kick-ass. What other kick-ass shit did I miss here? You know? But yeah, I'm down with totally braining 70-year-old women with shovels. Let's do it.
Man.
Well, I'm gonna have to say I'm on board with Team Bill and Team Tanya, because I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 9 even. I do enjoy this better than the original, even though the original is iconic. You know, I would never say, hey, watch this before watching the original. They kind of go together. But in recently, showing this to El Bandito and also showing it to like Party Man Will and Mr. Fusion. And I know both of them, were very much like, holy crap, dude, that was like an awesome sequel, and it was a first time watch. And like I said, not to say that everyone has to think it's a great sequel or even a mediocre sequel, but it's like, I think sometimes when you watch it, it's one of those films that when you really dig into it, you're like, man, this is a lot better than probably what even a lot of people in 1983 went in thinking it was going to be. Probably most people heard they made a sequel to Psycho. It's going to be garbage, So it was kind of like, almost if you went in with lower expectations, you were like, holy crap, this was awesome. But like I said, myself, from the moment I first watched it all the way through, I really enjoyed it. And I think now I would say I enjoy it better than the first.
Me too. Nice.
Me too.
All right. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it's a little too long. It's a lot of it because it's starting to play out, the one note joke of the franchise. But yeah, I still think the psychological aspects of this is interesting. I think it's just fast-paced enough to stay interesting to where it's not, dull or boring when it's not slashing. I'm going to say a strong 8 on this one.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
Not
there's a
Hall of
little.
Famer, but
Bill
all right.
sounds absolutely disappointed in the rating, Donald.
I think there's just too many. It's just too many problems in the last act to It's fantastic for the first hour and 20 minutes. It kind of drags from then on, and then it gets really good the last 5 minutes. But
Hey, Don. So you think it has too me problems?
Oh.
To me. Oh, to me. To me. Dude.
So-
That's a Joeyism.
That was good.
There's 2 of them. To me. Dude. I just Joey.
Oh, everyone does that.
Sorry about that, man. I feel like I totally.
All right, so let's take a little break while we explain that joke to Joey, and we'll come back with our next film, Psycho 3.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, Power Hour listeners, man, if you're out there checking us out, we have a special presentation tonight. We're hanging out with the Horror Mafia Podcast, and we're talking all about the Psycho franchise, man. And we're having so much fun doing it, right, El Bandito?
Oh, absolutely, man. We're doing a full-on retrospective. We're discussing all 4 of the classic films, right? We've just ran through 1 and 2, and we've kind of gone through the ringer here. We've got our feet wet in the Horror Mafia Podcast style, man. And, I wouldn't say we're 100% nailing it, but we're right in there. We haven't got our heads chopped off for our ratings yet, so hey.
Or the cement blocks, right?
Yeah, we haven't got any cement shoes yet. So
at least if they threw us into a swamp here in Florida, I would at least have my head above water. I don't know about
I'd be gone. They're gonna have to put you in a cement kimono.
But yeah, man, like I know. Me, Bill, and Tanya were spreading a lot of love for Psycho 2, man. And I think it's so cool that, you're giving your full-on opinion of Psycho 2, but also giving a thing where you'd be willing to give it a second watch just to see if,
Yeah.
if you still would keep that same opinion afterwards.
Definitely, 100%. I feel like this is the kind of movie that when you like, I missed it the first time. I just missed it. And then watching it again, you're going to be like, oh, okay, dude, I get it. I get all the pieces to the puzzle. But keep in mind, we sat down and watched Psycho 2. I hadn't seen Psycho for like 15 years. So you're like, look, you remember that guy from the first movie? No. Do you remember that guy from the first movie? No. You're like, that's Norman Bates. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
That's Norman
Yeah,
Bates.
I was just like that. It had been, I think, maybe 2005, 2006 when I last saw part 1.
Yeah.
And that was like the last time I saw it until we were watching it on Saturday. So
I think I saw Psycho in like 1996.
Yeah, it's been like 20 years since I'd seen Psycho. I had to watch it again.
Yeah. And we
I was
watched
like, oh,
Psycho
shit, I
2 like earlier this year.
Yes.
Let's go back a minute.
And we were also like out in the sun most of the day. So by the time like we were sitting, we had already had like a huge meal. So like, I don't know if he was exactly primed to.
Yeah, we got to throw a shout out. We were on the set of Boca's out there, which was an independent film they're making here. Jake Estrada's the star. It's based on a comic book that he created, and he was looking for participants to come and play zombies in the movie. So we totally went out there and got to play zombies, but we had to chase like a 5-ton truck like on an asphalt highway. We're in makeup and like wearing all this, ripped up zombie clothes. But it's a movie, so they have us doing it over and over and over again. And then they're like, lay on the asphalt dead now for about 25 minutes while we film a scene. So we were baking out there. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But they did have an amazing food. Their catering was fantastic. They sent us home with this gourmet toffee. What do they call that? Like
Saltwater.
No, remember the popcorn stuff? The
Oh
caramel,
yeah.
like Cracker Jack kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was
All that
awesome.
stuff is
Oh,
good.
yeah, one of them was like Nutella flavored. And,
Yes.
it's just, they were
There definitely
fantastic.
wasn't too many problems out there.
There was just enough problems. No, there was no problems. It was a super blast. But yeah, definitely when we got back, we were so excited from doing all this fun horror stuff all day that we were out there with Mr. Fusion 2, and the two of them were like, dude, we got to watch a horror movie. Oh, let's watch Psycho 2. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to just sit on the couch and drink water for like 45 minutes.
I don't even remember why Psycho 2 was the pick.
I don't know.
Like, I think I had caught it on cable like maybe the weekend before, and I'm like, this is a really good movie. I'm going to have to show this to El Bandito. And like, it kind of all just came together, But I do have to say, and I should probably maybe save this before, when we come back from the break. But even after you watch Psycho 2, you and Mr. Fusion were both like, we got to watch part 3.
Yeah.
So it sucked you in. I'm like, are you really sure you want to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I liked how you gave us the fair warning that you're like, it's not going to be like 2. It's not going to be like 2, man. Okay.
Well, it looks like Big Bill isn't back yet. I think I'm going to go run and grab us some more.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Is that cool? All right, I'll be right
Dude,
back.
there's a beer in the door if you want to grab it.
I think I'm going to stick to the agua for tonight. Me and Big Bill were partying pretty hardy on Monday. So.
Can you bring me the beer?
Yes, sir.
that's what I do too.
Nice.
Coors Light.
What has Donnie got in there? What is that?
It's water.
Water.
Nectar of the gods. Can't beat it.
No.
I'm a total snob, though. I only drink one specific type of bottled water.
Oh, I use the stuff that we get out of the refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot.
Ice cream, whatever that is.
Yeah, a lot of people totally give me a hard time because they only sell it like in the southern region. So if I get too far out of Florida, I can't even buy the water I like, which drives me crazy. But it's
syphilis water?
The Zephyr Hills, yeah. I'm all about
syphilis.
it. Oh, syphilis. Okay. Well, it's all right. We just chase it down with some beers, and then you're okay. Some alcohol to kill that syphilis.
Oh, Tanya.
Yeah.
You cannot find Moxie here, by the way.
No.
No.
Even in Publix?
In Publix, yeah.
Is there a Piggly Wiggly nearby?
No, we don't.
A Piggly Wiggly. One of those dirty fucking perverted things you made me look up on the internet. The Piggly Wiggly.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say it doesn't take much convincing to get Joey to look up something nasty on the internet.
They told me about this thing called The Stranger.
Oh, man.
A classic right there.
He had no idea.
Not a clue.
Next up is Lemon Party.
I know. Did you guys get him to look up the Dutch rudder?
Oh.
As a
Tried
tag
Dirty
team,
Sanchez,
we're
but he wouldn't
familiar.
fall
No, I'm
for
just
it.
kidding.
I already knew that one. Dirty Sanchez. You put a little fucking shit mustache on, right?
Hey, Bill, just real quick before we go back from break, I just wanted to say thank you for hooking me up with that new Puppet Master movie. I checked it out last night, and man, you want to talk about some gore. Woo!
Oh yeah,
Cuddly Bear.
I gave Charboil access to my Puppet Master, the Third Reich movie.
The Littlest
Yes.
Reich, yes.
Nice.
Yes, yeah, it was pretty brutal. I was like, wow,
Were-
man, they really took
Were you guys talking about that after that Oktoberfest story we
Yeah.
read?
No, Boyle, we actually interviewed Skeeta. You gotta hear the episode.
Mr.
Oh, Cuddly Bear. Oh, that dude
Cuddly Bear.
was
We love Cuddly Bear.
he was
He's
one of
awesome.
my favorites throughout the whole film.
Oh man.
Yeah,
He's
we
a fan of
came
the
on.
show.
Yeah, we came out. He came on and interviewed us. Did an interview with us. He was awesome.
Very cool. Maybe he'll be back for the sequel.
I hope so.
No. The sequel is really a prequel called Aryans Ahoy.
Oh, okay.
And the whole movie is going to be the remember the intro with the comic book style?
Yeah.
That's the sequel or prequel.
Well, real quick, I don't want to go too deep into this, but like the movie itself, like
You said I don't want to go too deep in this butt.
I don't want to go too deep in this butt, and I'm not even drinking tonight. But
I'm going
the
to be going into some warm Bud Light soon. Yeah.
in the other movies, were the puppets ever portrayed to be like full on like Nazis? Like, I mean, I don't remember that.
The closest one would have been part 2.
Really?
Part
Okay.
1.
No, part 2.
Oh yeah, 2 they were evil too. You're right.
I mean, not that I don't have a problem with like the evil puppet. I was just kind of like when I was watching, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is gonna switch or. But man, they were just. I mean, it was just brutal. Like,
All right.
I mean,
All right.
I'm not gonna do it.
That, I'm trying to help your voice, man. I know you're getting hoarse.
Oh, it's been bad. Yeah.
He's trying to say that the Littlest Reich, the puppets are like hate crimes, right?
Well, the one scene in particular. I mean, I won't do any spoilers just in case anyone does.
No, man.
Well, I don't know. I might want to show it to El Bandito. I don't
Yeah.
want to deflate any
I know.
of
I
this.
want to check this out. I wanna see Puppet Nazis.
The guy with the head in the toilet.
That was actually kind of like that was pretty cool. You know what I'm talking about? The
Look, here you go. There you can.
yeah,
All right.
pretty much. The going in where the sun don't shine and coming out and yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that particular scene, I was like, damn. I was like, this is definitely going to a whole. I mean, it was still done kind of cartoony, so it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm so like, disturbed by that. But it was definitely like, whoa, this is almost like trauma level, offensive right
You
here.
watched past the end credits, by the way.
Yeah, I did. That's why I was saying, Cuddly Bear. It looks like he lives to see another day. So,
Well, dude, look,
Effervescent.
we got Bishop joining us in the house out here, man. What's up, Bishop? And Rich T,
Bishop.
man, he wants to let Joey know next time you get a chance, look up the blue waffle on the internet.
Oh, that's what I was trying to think of was blue. I knew it was blue something.
Well,
Ugh.
Waffle, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
being that Bishop has joined us, I'm glad I didn't describe the scene that I was going to talk about.
Blue waffle.
Yeah, the blue waffle. Full of
Okay.
cream on it.
I have a feeling Bishop would like out of here.
Yeah, that blue waffle's not something they got up at Perkins.
I can't even imagine. All I'm thinking is like maybe blue balls. I don't know.
No.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Wait till after the show. Don't check that out
Yeah.
now, because
Oh, no, we gotta do that live on the show.
Oh,
One day.
Next week's antipasto.
No, there you go.
Now, we'll see if you still want to eat after that.
Joey's reaction.
So,
We'll put up a thread. All things for me to look up during the antipasto. Post your dirty shit, and I'll.
Good Joey. I like that.
Okay, let's get back into Psycho 3.
Oh,
let's
yeah.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yes, boss.
All right. And we are back. Our next film of the evening, 1986's Psycho 3.
That's right. July 2nd of that year, it dropped it like it was hot. Dropped it like it was hot and dropped it like it was hot. Mr. Norman Bates falls in love with a fallen nun who stays at the Bates Motel alongside a drifter and a curious reporter. Meanwhile, Mother is still watching. Ah, Mother. This one was directed by Anthony Perkins himself.
His first movie.
Yeah, his first and last. No, I don't know.
Oh,
Actually, may I kick it off?
Do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wow, I was impressed because after I didn't know he directed it, I must have missed it during the opening credits, and I was like, wow, the editing and like the camera angles and shit is working out pretty cool here. Like I like how it segued from scene to scene. Thought that was pretty rad. Now as for like the plot and the rest of the movie, I don't know how crazy I was about it. Now the thing I did like about this movie is the kills and the fact that I knew it was Norman and I wanted it to be Norman and I cheered for Norman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like we went from Psycho, where it's like, holy shit, this creepy fucking nut job, to Psycho 2, where it's cartoon Norman, to Psycho 3, where it's, I'm not going to say Jason Norman, but Slasher Norman.
right.
Catch it, Norman.
And at this point, I'm like, you know, it's like about, I don't know. I ended the third movie at 2:30 in the morning. So it's sometime around, 11:30, 12 into the wee hours of the night. I'm watching this, and I was having fun. You know, it was silly, it was comedic. After watching the second one, where it was like, all right, this is the tone it's gonna take. The second one, a much better written film. The third one, a more fun film for me. Because now I think I was in a groove where the tone shift of the sequels, right? I'm like, okay, I could deal with it now. I'm expecting this. And then we meet these characters, like the opening scene with the nun. I was like, oh, okay, what's this? And then I like the fact that it picked up a couple months after the events of part 2. I like the continuation aspect. Because again, part 2, the story, right? We said it all before. I think we all agreed on paper was great. So with that being said, I'll give some more insights into the film. Let's shift it on over to one of our guests, Charby.
All right, man. Well, definitely, like you said, from the opening scene in the in this. Well, actually, it's not even a scene yet. You just hear the voiceover and the girl saying, "There is no God." You're kind of like, "Whoa!" Like, did I put in the right movie here? Like, not that it was just kind of like it really did kind of throw you for a spin of like, where is this gonna go? And then, like you said, like for the first like 10-15 minutes, it really seemed like it was like trying to mimic that, like earlier, the first Psycho movie,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so I did definitely like that appeal of it. When I first saw this, it was probably very soon after I'd watched the second one because I was like, oh, I enjoyed that one so much. Let me go see what this third one's about. And I have to say, like, even as a kid, there was just a lot of stuff I picked up on. Like, I love that they had a lot of the same actors, like the guy who ran the diner, the deputy, the sheriff. The sheriff. I thought that was great that they, like you said, the continuation aspect. But
Mrs.
I found
Poole, like, where is she?
Yeah. There's like a
Right.
picture and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like some of the scenes, like inside the actual like Psycho house, I was like, it looks so different. Like I know it was the same set, but the way they were shot, I was like, I don't know. It just rubbed me kind of wrong. Like I definitely, this is probably my least favorite. I know we're not getting into ratings yet, but I mean, of the series. But yeah, it just, I don't know, the way it kind of just spiraled down. I really liked more of the aspect of the first, or I mean, the second movie.
Yeah,
All right, Bandito.
I definitely checked this out immediately after watching 2, so there was no time difference there. And jumping right into 3 was basically like, hey, I was now I've been hooked on this. Are we gonna get these cerebral movies from Psycho that are really great? And then this was 100% just the slasher flick I expected Psycho 2 to be. So it almost seemed like a step backwards, but again, I at least understood what was going on. It was just a slasher flick. It was just fun. It was kind of a romp. It was him stabbing people. There didn't seem a super lot of depth to it, but it was entertaining. And the Lawnmower Man guy's fantastic in it. So yeah, so
Dude,
I didn't hate
yeah,
it. I wasn't hating it.
Yeah. And you know, Charboil said it, like that opening scene, dude, fucking serious. Like when he's in the car with the nun, he has no idea she's a nun. He's trying to just get laid. He's not like he's trying to rape her. He's just trying to like, oh, why are you into it? No?
Dude, he was a little much though.
He was definitely a little much.
Yeah, okay. Especially
You could have been getting off instead of getting on.
Yeah, when he just throws the chick out of the
But
car.
it wasn't like he just like fucking threw her down and was like, you're mine.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. He didn't,
trying to
leave her for
swab
dead in
his
a
way in.
bathtub. So.
Right. It definitely made me, feel uneasy. and that's what the original Psycho did.
Yeah.
So, but then it got into Wonkyville again once they hit that diner.
And what's funny, it's called Psycho 3, and you kind of have three psychos there. You got the psycho nun, you got the psycho guitar player, you got Norman.
Yeah. I definitely got a bit of that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull feel. That was like, why are we introducing religion into Psycho? What does this have to do with anything? But it did kind of play better than, aliens from the space in between spaces, So it definitely played better.
How about those scenes with the guitar player and when he has that girl back in his room and he's like moving the lamp around?
You figure Anthony Perkins, the gay guy, is the one that gave us the most nudity in the series.
Exactly. No, it was like you say, it's not all. I'm not trying to say it's a total crapshoot, but compared to the first two films, it was just kind of like, whoa, like this definitely veered off. But like you said, it was Anthony Perkins' first director role, so yeah, it definitely has some merits,
But let's hear from Tanya. What do you got?
I watched. This is my first time watching this one. I watched all the first three Psychos last Saturday, so it was dark when I was watching it. So I got the TV on and I'm sitting there. And all of a sudden, when she's yelling, about there's no God or whatever, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Am I got the right movie on Cody? Like, holy shit. I don't know if this is Psycho. That scene where the nun falls and she splats all over the floor because she's trying to save it. I was like, okay, maybe I'm in. I'm like, sweet.
One way to kick off a movie, eh?
Too, nun splat.
I know.
Yeah,
right?
nun splat. That was great.
And that's like, symbolic for her losing her religion, right?
Right.
Oh shit, kill a nun.
I mean, it's no Psycho 2, but I was rather impressed with that opening scene after I got over the fact there was a religious thing going on with it. I wasn't sure how that was going to work at first.
Well, nice to know if they kill a nun, you're all in.
Yeah. Why not?
I'm with it.
All right, Bill?
I actually took the day off of school to see this movie. I might have been on summer vacation, actually. When was it released?
July of 86.
So, yeah, I was on vacation. I did not have to take off school. So I actually rode my bike to the fucking multiplex to see this movie.
Nice.
And I know I didn't have school. So I rode my bike, and I was like, the opening scene, but the nun thing was awesome. But for me, what made the movie was Norman stitching the hand. I was, oh, yeah.
All that taxidermy all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay. Exactly. The first one, they mentioned it and everything.
The first one with the taxidermy.
Yeah.
Right.
You find out, and his mom is, but he never said he did that to his mom.
Right.
He did.
Yeah. You feel like it was kind of implied, but never really specified, and this really sold it,
Yeah, you're right. Like, they didn't really, introduce any of that in the second one. Like, I mean, I'm sure he still enjoyed it, but did you guys notice that, like, Norman kind of looked like he aged, like, 10 years between the two movies? Like, I mean,
to give the guy credit, he was dying of AIDS.
That's what happens when you take that director's role. It's like how every president hair turns gray.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
But so I wanted to see, like, this is Perkins, not Norman Bates. This is Perkins' own take on Norman Bates.
Mm-hmm.
So he directed this. So this is his vision. And you know what? I enjoyed the fucking ride. This is so much fun. I really liked how he did stuff with, like, being a slasher movie, as well as using some, like, Hitchcockian themes, like with the ice, with the cop.
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
We'll get there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He tried to do both. He tried to, like, bridge the fact that Norman is a psycho slasher, as well as put in some, like, crazy, like, Hitchcockian suspense. I love that. So yeah, I dug this movie a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I think this is probably, the most fun of maybe the entire franchise, because I think it's the shortest. Yeah, I think that plays a lot into, like, what I was saying with part 2, where it feels just too over long.
Yeah.
I think this one here, I think it gets the pacing right. I think it gets the length right. And I think it, he fills it exactly with what you need. And, there's just enough of a body count. There's just enough of that playing off of what he did in the second film. Is he still crazy? Is he still, tormented by his mother? And, again, it brings up the same issue like with part 2, where it's just, the one no joke, him still being controlled by his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still fun regardless, but I think that's sort of where you start realizing, like, the story doesn't have too many other places to go. There's only so much you can do with this storyline, and then it just sort of, like, it just feels like repetitive all over again.
It becomes a comedy, right? A parody of itself.
Yeah, it just becomes like, okay, well, he's hearing voices again. Well, we've had 3 films already that's done that. Why is this one any different?
Right. This is all. We know he's crazy. He's killing people. Bam.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that I can appreciate how this movie just starts off where you're like, yep, he's just going to kill people now. He's totally just given back to his old ways. And it's like, okay, whatever, dude. Just stabbing people up,
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, so there's something to be said for the direct approach, and this was direct. So
Even when he walks into the diner and they're like, "Hey Norman, you want some of this, country fried steak?" He's like, "Yep." Like he doesn't even like look at him. Like, I mean, it's
He's no longer like the polite Norman now. He's like, "Yeah, I fucking do. Bye." So yeah, I agree with El Bandito here. He's direct. He is no longer. Am I the killer? No, bullshit. Boom.
yeah,
I'm doing this. Let's do it.
But you know that part where Norman almost shits his pants is when like he sees like that M crane on the
Marion Crane, right?
He's like, "Oh."
Another good nod.
Yeah.
Well, but the like you said earlier with Psycho 2, he gets a little too cartoony, but I think this is kind of a side effect of his incarceration. That he's being that parrot, he's mimicking what they're telling him to do to get him out of there, kind of a thing, Where in this movie, yeah, I love that sensibility, like you're saying. He's back to that less is more, that I don't give a shit about you attitude. You people are all just fucking meat, So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you could watch, like I did. I watched 2 and 3 back to back, and it's literally almost feels, very fluid.
Yeah.
Granted, the beginning of 3 gets a little bit of serious, but it transitions back into that tone that 2 has.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. I mean, I've definitely seen a hell of a lot worse sequels. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
See the Halloween sequels for that one.
He's saying Joey and El Bandito is saying that this is the sequel they wanted for part 2. Is that right?
It's what we expected. I wouldn't say I wanted it. I think I actually wanted what Psycho 2 is, but I thought that was nowhere in the realm of possibility that it caught me so off guard. I didn't get it till halfway through the movie.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, what's a better word for it? It's very campy.
Oh, it is very campy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that here because I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
In Psycho 2, first time watch, first time expectations, also kind of campy, and I just was like, oh, right? Oh, huh? This is Psycho 2. Where in Psycho 3, again, I'm in the universe now. This is what the sequels are gonna be like. All right, let's have fun with it. And the character of Duke, I get a kick out of him.
Yeah.
Right? It's fun to see him.
He's awesome. Yeah.
And then you see him later, he's all fucking sweaty and wild in there. That's the reporter, you just love to hate that bitch.
Oh yeah. You just want to. Yeah, you're like,
cigarette.
She's got to go down.
And yeah, you know, I'm just in a spot where I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not taking notes. I'm just sitting back, watching, laughing at the overt fucking homages. It's just like OD over the top. And you know,
I think Joey was 100% right saying it's kind of a Friday the 13th feel, because it really is like a slasher flick, and you just you know what's going on. It doesn't try to teach you anything, or you know, and in a sense that brings it down from the other two movies, but in a sense makes it like understandable. Like it reaches this plateau where you can appreciate what it is.
Because it's a different tone. I think it's because, like I said, you've had the first two that were the psychological ones, and now you're bringing in more of the fast-paced, boom, 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 let's get the body count going.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sort of shift in tone to where you see the two, you see like it separates itself just enough, but then it just sort of, it plays back in on itself once it, like, you know, at the end. You know, it's once again, you know, he's being led away by the cops. You know, he's dragged out behind the swamp in the hotel.
Right.
But you know, it's the ride to get there, and it's how many bodies is he gonna take out before he gets caught?
You know, I wanted to say real quick, wasn't it almost kind of odd for him to let that, like, you know, after football game party take place at the hotel after, like, he kind of killed Toomey? Well, he didn't kill Toomey, but for yelling at Mr. Toomey, you know, for...
Yeah. Well, it's kind of odd that he never bangs any of these chicks first. I think that's weird.
Fairfield versus Bakersville.
Yeah.
You're going to kill him anyways.
Well, he did kind of like pretend like he was making out with that chick after he killed her. You know, he's like, they have to be dead first. Oh, Bandito, that's all part of the...
I guess. It just seems like it's that sort of thing of that repeating pattern of, like, he feels guilty for being attracted to a woman because of that thing of his mom thinking he was attracted or aroused to him. But
fucking bingo, man.
Yeah, but it just always trips me out that he doesn't give in to the urge first and then feel guilty afterwards. But hey, to each their own, you know?
Right. No, he feels guilty when he does. Like, oh, I'm attracted to her. Bam. Mom kicks in.
Yeah, it's almost like he gets a boner to kill. You know?
Yes.
Now, what do you guys think about the whole scene when, like, you know, he's gonna go kill the ex nun, but he goes in there and she's like, she's slit her wrist and she thinks she sees
awesome.
like Mary, you know.
I was not expecting that. I was like, oh shit.
He's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, the best part of that is how pissed he is.
He's like, she already did half the job for me. Shit.
Yeah, like he seems genuinely irritated that now he has to just go bury a body in the swamp. You know?
He took it to the hotel.
No, that's the mom part talking about that. I really do. I really think that he is a good guy.
Yeah.
But she is not. And when she takes over, like, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, once he gets a hard on, mom's here.
Yep.
And then he walks in and she's doing that, and he's like, what? No, and then he's there, and he's like, oh, no, God, no, empathy, blah, 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 you know?
Mm-hmm.
Toasted cheese sandwiches and milk.
No, you're right, man. You called
Toasted
it.
cheese sandwiches, yeah,
Toasted.
baby.
I dropped out for a minute, so did anybody mention the book of the belly of the beast that was laying on the ground when she first gets to the motel?
No.
Oh,
No.
that's a pretty awesome throwback to part 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, remember even they had like the finger, the streaks from the kid, like when he was dying in the basement. I mean, it was really cool how they did like make him, you know, part 2 and 3 connect.
Right.
Yeah,
But,
and then also, I don't know if anybody noticed the candy corn part from when he was eating it in part 1, the first Psycho. And he offers Dwayne some candy corn.
Yeah, I did. I caught that.
Yeah.
That was
I wasn't sure
definitely.
if anybody mentioned it or not because my internet went out for a
No,
minute.
I missed that detail completely. So super good catch on that one. And I'm a huge candy corn fan too.
Me too.
Hate
No.
myself right now.
Now, would you eat Norman's candy corn?
I would
though?
eat Norman's candy corn. I'd eat it right out of his hand like a horse.
As long as it's not by the poison bird food there.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
fuck his iced tea, but
Gotta make his taxidermy birds.
Hey, look, when that bird came back to life, he let it go. He's like, all right,
Yeah,
Lily.
he did.
But yeah, definitely a very interesting sequel.
yeah.
You know, when Mother ends up going missing and Norman's like searching for her, I thought that was shot really well. Which, of course,
Oh,
with
hell yeah.
with Anthony Perkins directing, whoever he
Right.
had kind of doing that, you know, it was just
Hitchcock?
really cool. Yeah, like
Hitchcock, yeah.
like you see like the just the way it was, you know, stuff blowing in the wind, and he's like, you have that like the scene really takes on that feeling of dread that he's feeling that he doesn't know where Mother is.
Right. Well, I agree, man.
Oh man. Look at that. Rich T out there says only psychos eat candy corn. Well, I guess I'm a psycho because I love that
Yes,
shit.
I'm a psycho. Woo!
I will say this though. How do you guys feel about Indian corn? That's the one where the bottom is chocolate, like
Oh, I
chocolate
like the
flavored.
Indian corn too.
It's all good.
That is good stuff, man. But those
like it.
pumpkins, the pumpkin things that are in there, get those the fuck out
Oh,
of there.
pumpkin.
Oh, I love
My
the mellow
nephews eat them
pumpkins.
before I
man.
can. And it makes they're like,
You guys are down for the pumpkins? I don't like those. They're like too much for me.
Oh,
I love the pumpkins.
yeah, Tanya brought some over last year, and my daughter ate them all, remember? But Joey, man, you don't have a fucking hair on your balls if you don't play Mother by fucking Danzig for this.
You gotta do it.
Billy, do you wanna smoke weed with me? No edible. Oh man. Well, it's almost the witching hour, folks.
All right.
Yeah, anybody have any last thoughts on this one?
No.
All right.
All right, so yeah, I'll go first this time. I think it's a fun ride. I think it's, you know, maybe not the strongest story because it's just repeating, you know, the one note, you know, it's really starting to expose the weakness of the storyline with the franchise where it's just repeating all over again. But I think the ride to get there is a lot of fun. I think there's some great, you know, slasher moments that really propelled us along. It's not as good as part 2, but I'm going to give it the same 8 out of 10. I'd still put 2 over 3, but I say it's the same 8 out of 10.
All right. That's high up there.
So, Joe, your thoughts?
I'm gonna go with a solid 7 here, just like part 2. You can, you know, sandwich these together and just call it the Psycho sequel for me. I like moments in both. I don't like moments in both. I think the writing in part 2 is better than part 3, but I have more fun in part 3. So
Exactly.
I want to give them, you know, the equilibrium. So even though they're 2 totally different things, I still enjoy them both. Again, I'm comfortable in this universe now. I'm ready for Norman to slay, and like I said, I'm on board, having fun.
All right, Bill?
Yeah, I'm going with a fact that, like, I love the fucking kill with Jeff Fahey beating him in the fucking head with a guitar.
Oh, kabong, man.
I fucking love the scene with the ice with the fucking sheriff. So, El Kabong, right. Yeah, so you know what? I don't hate the movie. I don't love it. It's not, like, great. So I'm going with an 8.5, actually. I saw this in the theater, and I enjoyed my fucking time doing it.
All right, T?
That scene at the end when he has the mother's hand in the back of the police
Right.
car.
Stitched up her hand. It was awesome, right?
He has that look on his face.
No, Tanya, come on. What cop would let him bring that in the back seat?
That's what I thought. That's what I was like. What the hell? I go, then frisk him. He's a fucking killer.
But
Why would you
Come
let
on, what guy doesn't taste blood in his drink with his bloody
That's
ice in
true.
there?
And lick his fingers as he's
Yeah. You're
doing
like,
it.
oh, I
I'm like-
love this. It's so metallic.
That was like that was worse than the scene in Hatchet where Daniel Harris almost drinks the pee.
yeah.
It is shit
He
often.
didn't drink it. He ate the blood.
But you know what? That could be in his head though, in the backseat of the car.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that end scene really. I love that look on his face when he's in the backseat of his car.
Yes, right. Look at his face.
Yeah, that just. I don't like it as much as I do 1 and 2, and I'd like it a little less than Bill. I went with an 8.
Nice.
All right. Charboil.
Okay, well, I'm prepared to get murdered in the shower tonight after I give my rating on this one. But let me give the rating first, and I'll kind of try to justify it because
Okay.
everybody goes a little mad
Justify it.
sometime. I'm gonna give it a 6, and the reason
Wow.
being, I knew Bill was gonna jump on that one quick. But
Wow.
well, really want to know what I really disliked about it the most? It would have to be the ending. I thought that them kind of like once like reneging on like what they had kind of set up in the second movie. Where I feel that might have been done mostly to appease the fans because everyone was like, "Oh, come on," like no, not now. Norma wasn't his mom, and then in this they're like, "Oh no." So Norma was still his mom, but this lady was just crazy. I don't know.
Spool was crazy, man.
I get it, but when I watched it, I just thought like, wow, this is just doing like it's almost like this movie itself like didn't need to happen because she was just a nut. I get it's psycho, but
I get you. You don't like a retcon.
yeah, and that's what I feel like it was. I don't know if that was something just based on Anthony Perkins or if it was like the fan base at the time, which I'm sure was just like writing letters because they didn't have the internet to complain about stuff. But they were just saying, hey, oh, we didn't like that you changed the original canon. But and like I said, just some of the stuff where it was more of a slasher than like a psychological horror film. Like I missed that, so it gets a little bit of a lower mark in my books. But hey, still, great for a first-time director being Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
All right, and El Bandito.
Well, I have to say, man, like as slasher flicks go, I don't rate them very high in general. So, just compared to other Casablanca level movies, how can you, right? But I would say that to me, while wildly different, this was every bit as good as my watch of Psycho 2. So I'm going to go with the trend of rating them both the same. So I'm going to say 5.5, but I do think that Psycho 2 can elevate up to a 6 or maybe even a 7 on a rewatch.
Wow.
All right. Well, so we'll take one last break, and we will close out the show with 1990's Psycho 4.
Oh yeah,
Man, I'm so excited about Psycho 4.
Bill, can we just do this?
All right, do it.
Can we take
Yeah.
2 seconds? I actually want to take a break now. I just want to use the restroom real quick and come right back. I'll be like
No
2
problem.
seconds.
I won't smoke. I'll go pee. How about that?
Okay.
I'll smoke for
I'll
you.
close my eyes for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Be right
All
here.
right,
Here we
I'll
go.
make a crash. I'll make a crash, so we'll start a lead.
I got nothing. I got nothing. Quiet. It's too quiet. Bill's not here.
dang, this is like that scene in Wayne's World where like Wayne leaves Garth, and I'm just.
Yeah, he's just like,
Nah, it's funny because we always pride ourselves on how long we can run without having to take a bathroom break. So it's kind of funny that he's like, I gotta go. Like I think our longest so far has been about 2 hours, But I know we're riding a little bit longer.
This is
Well, that's why I said is that we're the 3-4 hour recording sessions.
Yeah. Well, the other night, I was feeling pretty good. I had just gotten over some laryngitis, and I brought Bill back home. Gave him a ride. I decided to stop at 7-Eleven, I made a really bad decision of getting one of those little burrito things out of the little spinner, and yeah, it was the worst decision I made because I was exercising like all over the wall that night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, no problem. Shouldn't have drank that beer.
There you go. That's what happens.
What?
I shouldn't have drank that beer, man. That's what happens. It runs right through you.
Oh yeah, comes back to bite you. Okay.
I'm not used to sitting here doing this by myself.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm telling Bull.
So
I'm
weird.
like, bro, are you serious? You're out there eating taquitos from a Cumberland Farms at 2:30 in the morning?
That just screams death.
It looked so delicious. So I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be okay. And like I said, I was finally feeling like better. And like that night, it was just like, I'm like, how can there be any more food inside of me? Like, how is there still stuff coming up? And like, yeah, it's destroyed me.
Man, it's okay. I saw some comments earlier where people were saying at least you sound extra creepy tonight.
Oh, they did.
I'm here for my horror retrospective.
I'm here. Actually, I was just saying I was going for. I was trying to be like Joey over there, you know, like. He's like, what?
Heard my name.
I was doing my Joey impression tonight.
Been up since 5 in the morning. I worked all day, 12 hours. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah,
And I gotta be up at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow.
Man,
Hey, Joey. My dad put on Goodfellas again tonight. Guess what?
What?
Holy Walnuts is in the beginning.
Is he really? I
Yeah.
didn't remember that.
Me
I
neither.
love that fucking movie.
all right. Well, let's we'll finish this up so we can get Joey to bed.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, guys.
And we are back. Our final film of the evening, 1990's Psycho 4: The Beginning.
Yes, Young Psycho 4. Well, another one with Anthony Perkins, but not directed. We get Mr. Mick Garris here. And like we mentioned way earlier in the show, written by Joe Stefano. Guy who wrote the first. Well,
You know Mick Garris from what?
we know Mick
Just about every
Garris.
Stephen King TV made for
Like
TV.
every Stephen King movie ever made, right?
now this movie was made direct to TV, right? It had no theatrical release.
Not TV, but cable, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it was Showtime.
okay.
Yeah.
He wrote a movie that I watched on Saturday with the family, Hocus Pocus.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
That should be one of your torture things.
Yeah, right?
Oh, please no.
Doug Jones is in that. Ugh.
Can I watch
Yeah.
this Manos Hands of Fate again? Or Birdemic?
No.
Remember, Tanya, your torture films have to be horror films.
Mm,
Hocus
thank
Pocus.
God.
There's a child killing in Hocus Pocus, so horror movie.
It's not horrifying. It's kind
All
of
right. Psycho
All right.
4, Psycho 4.
Yeah, I bet you got me excited. So.
now.
Here we go. This was a TV movie from, instead of the summertime, November 10th, 1990, on the cusp. It was 1989 continued. All right. Norman Bates recalls his childhood with his abusive mother while fearing his unborn child will inherit his split personality disorder. Okay.
Alrighty, so let's go first impressions, Joe.
Okay. First impressions of Psycho 4. Wow. What the hell? I'm trying to connect it to the dots here of Psycho 3. Little to find out after I watch it that it has absolutely no connection to the other two films. Lovely. Okay. We get scenes of a young Norman Bates. We see him making his first kill. We see him catching a boner on his mama and a bunch of other weird shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I think at this point, it was my third Psycho film in a row, and I was just like, I'm ready for bed. Kind of like how I am now. So that's my initial thoughts.
All right, T.
Do we have to talk about it? That's my initial thought.
Yeah, no, I'm just like you. I think this is a fine idea. I just don't think it's realized all that well or interestingly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
as
kind of like
much
the
as
fourth subspecies movie.
no, only that one's good.
I haven't seen it.
But
One
yeah,
day, one day.
I think this is a fun idea. I think the idea of wanting to go back and relive his childhood is, just like definitively connect those dots to put everything into motion. It's just we already know he's crazy. Do we really need to see those dots?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think this is kind of like way too late in the game to be going back and seeing what made him tick. Because at this point, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Orange flower water seen as cringy.
10. T.
What?
I mean, Bill,
I already went.
No, I want to ask you a question.
Oh, yeah.
Was this your first time watch?
Of this one, yes.
Okay. So when it started, were you like, how is this fucking guy out again?
Yes. And what the fuck is going on?
I'm like, why is this guy standing in a contemporary kitchen?
Yes. I thought that's not his mother's house.
What is he baking? What is he cooking? What the fuck is going on? Why is he playing Susie Homemaker?
And why is he listening to a radio show?
Yeah. Oh, that was so weird. So weird. Oh.
yeah, and I'm saying there's only 3 sets in this. There's only like 3 locations, so you can tell it's like so low budget that they didn't have time for anything. It's just the radio
script.
Yeah, it's just the radio station, the kitchen, and then the flashback scenes at the motel.
Yeah, shit got fucking weird.
What's Bill got for us over there?
The day it came out, or the night it came out, I actually did not own the network. What network was that on? Stars?
Showtime.
Showtime? All right, I didn't have that, so I had to go to a friend's house. This girl and her husband, actually, it was me and my stripper girlfriend had a threesome with her.
Lovely.
So you remember this movie fond as shit.
So I knock on her fucking door. I'm like, hey, can we watch this movie? Oh, yeah, we love horror movies. Come on in. I'm sitting there, my fucking face up against the TV, like, yeah.
He was having a Toomey Motel moment.
Yeah.
And, wow. Holy crap. It started off like it was trying to be a horror movie, but then you got Norman, like, Susie Homemaker, right? And, like, calling into some black chick, what do you call it?
Radio show.
Radio DJ, whatever. And she's all like, yeah, what's going on? And, like, he's telling his life story? What? No! All right, so then you get the kid from E.T. I'm like, oh, God, fucking Henry Thomas. All right, so I get the fact that they tried to, like, do his backstory and all that. And I've got to give him credit for, like, making the first movie at, what do you call that, the Universal Orlando PSYCHO set. So I get that. But, ugh.
Norman doesn't strangle.
I was so like, is this over yet? Can we do another threesome? I joke. Anyway.
All right, let's go over to Bandito.
Man, I definitely would have shut this movie off in an instant to have a threesome. But that,
who wants to stick their dick
that
in crazy?
Yeah, any
Who wants to
movie.
stick their dick in his mother?
So, but
I would bang the mother.
Olivia Hussey was hot. Oh yeah.
but
I
listen,
would have stuck my dick in that thing easily.
dude, I will 100% disagree with all you guys so far and be like, I fucking love this movie. I thought it was great. I thought it was a super ride. I'm going to tell you guys why, right? Donnie, you mentioned several times that this has a fatigue to the series. He's crazy about his mom. He's crazy about his mom. You know, she's voices in his head making him do crazy stuff. And this movie's totally different. This movie's like, no, he got his help. He realized who he is. He knows he's a fucked up psycho killer guy. They're telling him it's some genetic problem with him, which is probably not, but that's the best they could figure at the time. And now, you know, lo and behold, cool kind of twist at the end. He's like, oh, so this lady who I married is going to have a kid, but fuck her. I don't want any more fucked up people like me out there, so I'm going to kill the both of them. So totally different motivation than either of the other films, any of them. And I'm like, that's refreshing and neat. This movie, to me, right after watching kind of the boring slasher flick thing where you're like, okay, this is kind of slasher. It's fun, but there's no thought behind it. Now we're back to a more cerebral film. Now we've got this guy calling into this radio station. What's going on? He's articulating his problem, the way he tells the story. I thought the cinematography was great. Considering, they only had 3 locations, I was engaged most of the time because they kept using these great camera angles and these drops where they'd be straight overhead and then roll down to the front of the person. These extreme close-ups on the lady smoking, which, you know, it's CCH Pounder. Let's not make it sound like it's just some nobody who was the radio station lady, you know? But, dude, this was a ton of fun for me. I love the backstory stuff, personally, because,
You're okay with, like, Norman being married again with kids?
Who?
He asked about Norman.
Norman.
Am I okay with Norman being married with kids?
Yeah, like Norman being like a dad and like having a wife.
Like Norman Bundy.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. He didn't want the kids and stuff. But yeah, he met the lady, like he said, in the psychiatric ward, and he's like, okay.
But at 3, he's fucking stitching up a girl's hand, man.
Yeah, no, I get it, dude. But where was he at the beginning of 2 that he wasn't a killer anymore? So at the beginning of 2, he's completely fixed. He's healed. They send him back out among the populace. So who's to say they didn't? But who's to say they can't do that again?
All right.
But it took him 23 years to do it. This looks like it's shot 3 or 4 years later.
Right.
Sure.
Well, there's never any time, though. I don't think they ever mentioned that there was so much. I mean, I know.
I'm just going by the year of release.
Sure. And I know earlier you guys mentioned that this might not have any connection. Maybe just in Charboil brain, I always like to think that these are all part of the same story, which I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like this.
Actually, guys, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
Just some chick like fucking married. What's his name? Richard Ramirez, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't someone try to marry Charles Manson? You know?
Yeah.
So like I kind of get it in that sense, but like if this guy had 23 years of therapy, then he falls into remission, he could go to that same or a different psychiatric clinic where they give him different drugs or different more advanced techniques or whatever, and get him kind of back to where he was.
It's
a
the
lot
90s.
quicker than the first time, you know? Yeah, because
I'll give you that, man.
Yeah,
all right.
In the 60s, they may not have given him drugs.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. So anyways, I was just sold. I found it to be a believable premise, and I liked that it was different. I mean, as believable as them letting him out in the first place. If this guy's fucking putting people in the swamp in a trunk and shit out there, you know? This guy's fucking nuts. He doesn't go to a psycho house. He goes or a nut house. He goes to a fucking prison as soon as he gets out, you know? So if we're kind of throwing all that out the window of how the real system works, then you have to say, yeah, I'll take that leap and say he's out. But again, the one thing I love about this is Anthony Perkins. Like, he is so like the original Psycho in this movie to me, more so than the other two. He's so cold. He's so calculating. He doesn't give a shit after a while to say his name on the radio after he's been reliving this stuff, and he kind of drops it like a bombshell. He's like a badass.
Yeah, but how long is he in the movie? Like 2 minutes?
I mean, he's on the phone a lot talking to the lady. I didn't feel like I missed him, I guess. He was kind of like, he had that Jaws effect to me, where we're waiting for him to show back up, and when he does, he's very prominent. And one of my favorite parts of the whole movie is towards the end, when we finally, like, I've been anticipating that I want to see the mom get killed. You know, like, I want to see it. What's the kill? So they're leading up to it, and finally when it's about to happen and he's telling the story, they do this fucking wonderful shot where Anthony Perkins is standing in the bedroom, and that just he drops to black. They put him in a total shadow, and then the younger kid walks in, and I was like, "That's awesome, man! Like, he's there, he's reliving it, he remembers, you know." So,
I guess. All right.
Yeah, there was just so much of this I liked, man. I thought it was cool, but I think that probably my biggest thing that set me off in the right direction was the fact that Sharon Camille, who played Holly, his first kill ever, was so fucking cute. And I was like, I need to watch more of this movie. This girl is so fucking cute. But yeah, man, I thought this was really well done, considering, you know, I saw it was a made-for-TV movie, and I'm thinking, boy, this is going to be freaking terrible, you know, and I was just pleasantly surprised. So again, my expectation totally low and crappy, so it doesn't have to be very good for me to be like, I like that, you know.
I mean, I like the scenes of you know, young Anthony, Perkins, young Norman Bates.
Yeah.
But the scenes where, you know, we have Anthony Perkins, it's like, huh? You know, like, I know it's the beginning, but I don't, again, you know, I didn't realize, there's no inkling that it takes place right after until I think I read like the Wikipedia page or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I very much liked how they gave us so much of this backstory with his mom, who, yes, was crazy hot, right? Dude, even Tanya, come on, she can tell us that chick was hot.
She is so hot, her son loved her.
She was so hot, she was always sweating in those scenes, telling him, Norman, I'm so hot.
Dude, you're like, I'd have fucked her. I'd have had a new son and a new brother. That would have been fine.
Right here, hand raised, I'll do it.
She still does something for me.
But I am so perplexed, right? Oh, I'm sorry, Joe, go ahead.
I was going to say, does seeing all this take away the mystique from the original and the relationship that he had with his mother that, you know, we could only imagine?
It definitely didn't hold water in the sense that every time we saw her in the original Psycho or Norman Bates dressed up as her, he had that like Amish outfit on, you know, the total neck button down to the ankles. And she's wearing these silk negligees with like panties hanging out. And you're like, yeah, dude, your son's going to be like, what's up? Like, that's going to happen if you're walking around half naked, bro. So I'm kind of putting a little blame on mom on this one. Yeah, kind of being a bitch.
Yeah.
Kind of being a little bit of a cock tease there.
That's pretty cool, actually. That's right.
Mommy fucked up Norman.
But I like how Senor Bull said how she's so hot that she's like, oh, rub ice water on my legs, Norman. It's so nice. And then
Oh, the
later,
orange flower water.
she's literally pouring iced tea down her shirt at the end there. And I'm like, who the fuck does that? So there's a lot of weird shit going on in this movie, but it's like my kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
So basically, your boner is like calling this movie good.
Probably.
Hell band weirdo.
Oh, look at that.
This is El Bandito after midnight.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody take off your top.
Oh,
No.
oh, God, dude.
No.
Okay, so his mom literally says, right, where is that boy with our iced tea? I'm so thirsty, I can't even swallow. And remember? And the guy's like, we can't be having that now. And you're just like, oh my God. I feel like I wrote this movie.
well, let me jump in real quick with my first impression.
Sorry, man. I went on there, but I liked it.
No, I know you got a lot.
Rating it already.
What's that?
I know Joey's like, bad, no stars, I'm go bad.
Well, I'll make it quick, but I did also enjoy this film a lot more when I originally saw it when I recently rewatched it, and I was like, wow, I thought this was better than what it was. It did come off a little more campier nowadays than when I first saw it, but one thing I think I will say that I did still really appreciate about it, maybe it's my love for comic books, but it's like you kind of like, no matter how well you know a character, I want to know his backings. I want to know all the little things that did make him tick. So yeah, even knowing that and then going back and rewatching the first Psycho, you're kind of like, yeah, man, the mom was definitely really screwed up.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was very instrumental and even when he was just a little guy, you know, like when the father died and
she's
you know,
tickling him.
yeah, and he laughs and she
And she
yeah.
yells at him. You're like, what a bitch, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it really.
No wonder your kid's a nut. You know?
Yeah, so even from that young, where he was so young, she was already kind of like mentally screwing him up. Like,
But that again was something I loved so much about it was that he's got these doctors telling him it's genetic, it's genetic, it's genetic. But he's literally telling a story of how he was nurtured into being the nut that he is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like he can't even reconcile that, and I thought that was really cool.
it's kind of admirable that he was kind of like I don't want to, being that he thinks it might be genetic, that he didn't want to bring, and he kind of told his wife that he didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And she kind of,
It was cool that he was aware that there was something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's pretty much it for my first impression. I know El Bandito has some more.
Literally all my notes are on Psycho 4. But, Tanya, you mentioned him choking. That you're like, oh, he doesn't normally choke anything. I have to say, though, right, the sound effects for that lady choking and how he could not kill her was so freaking cool to me. That he chokes her and she wakes back up. He chokes her. She wakes back up. He puts her in the trunk and she's banging on the fucking trunk.
Oh,
You're like, oh, my God, that's horrible. But I don't think I've ever seen a movie that I heard throttling that I enjoyed so much. So, yes, this was a total weird experience for me. But I was like, that's so hot. Yes, choker.
I was just sitting on the couch yelling at the TV, going, what the hell? Norman doesn't strangle.
Hey, man, like, if what was that lady, 45? And that kid was like 17 or something?
Yeah.
Man, but I got to move to California. That place sounds awesome.
Get yourself a 1900s girl.
Yeah. Did anybody notice that she had that Norman had 2 rings on?
Oh.
Oh.
There was a scene, can't remember if he was washing his hands or he was doing something and he was holding his hands up like doing something and he had 2 rings on. He had one on each ring finger.
Oh, no.
I did not notice that. Wow.
As much as I did not like it, I did catch that.
What
So
significance
one
does that
meant
have?
was like for his mother,
Yeah.
and one was meant for his wife.
Nice.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so they weren't totally aloof to adding in some cool little nods here and there. So I don't know. I think we could give it a little bit of credit for some of the cool stuff it does.
Like I said, I did enjoy it. Like I liked the backstory aspect, and I mean, I know we might not want to jump all the way to the end so quick, but even like how it kind of wrapped up, I kind of liked the ending. Even though I did show this one to Party Man Will, and he was like, dude, that was kind of corny. I don't know. I just liked it.
Yeah, I dug it. I'm with you, man.
It's like the defeating your demons kind of,
I know, and we got Tanya over there smoking, man, and she's totally reminded me of the CCH Pounder's character. How she's just pounding cigarettes the whole time she's on the radio, And I'm just watching that, and all I can think is exactly what I thought when I was a kid. I was like, smoking's so fucking cool. I can't wait till I get older. I'm gonna smoke all the fucking time, And they just make it totally cool. But I dug the backstory stuff. It may have gone on a little long. I will give it that. It was like almost too much stuff. Because there was a point where I was like, just kill the fucking mom. Show us the kill where the mom is. But after it happened, or after it got to that scene, I almost appreciated that they made me wait. I had to stop and take a minute to think, holy shit, I was really like jazzed to see that. Like they really got my appetite wet to see it. So that was pretty cool.
I think one thing you could have done is, I think the way Norman burned the house down is kind of an idiot. Light one room on fire. Throw gasoline on one room and then light that on fire, and then go into the next room and light that on fire.
Dude, did you see?
Run upstairs and
he drenches.
You torch everything first, make a trail out the front door, and then light the fire.
Dude, he literally in one scene like covers a window with gas, puts his can down right fucking there, and lights that window. I'm like, dude, put it behind you or something. The fuck are you doing, man?
This is Norman we're talking about, though.
I don't know, but it's just how's every fire ever started? You torch everything you want to torch first, you make a trail to safety, and then you light the trail and let that burn.
Yeah, totally idiotic. But there's a lot of parts like that just seem out of place. Like, how's his mom so frigid all the time, and then she ends up hooking up with douchebag Chet? Like, where the fuck did that even come from? I was waiting for them to be like, Chet has a lot of fucking money. She was complaining about the place closing, which is another one of those threads that you pull and you're like, well, how the fuck was he open like 30 years later? Who the fuck was staying there now? But anyways, like, she ends up with this guy Chet, who's a total shit ass for no reason, and they had a bunch, like, far too many scenes with him being a douche. Like 30 seconds into that guy being on camera, you're just like, douche. But then he's like, I'm gonna punch Norman and call him a girl and all this stuff, and you're like, okay, dude, we get it. Kill this fucker. So that was
And then
definitely
it
a
took like
nod.
and then it takes like two or three times for the poison to take.
Yeah, well, like they seem to die or they start dying very quickly, and then they're falling around and fumbling around, which is, like they're just gonna die, and Norman's gonna be fine. Like we didn't need to play that out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, for me, I know you guys are actually raising my rating on this.
Well, that's good. That's why we're all here, man, is to talk about the stuff, see what holds merit and what doesn't. And I have to say, I was telling Senor Bull, I was like, for our Halloween party coming up in a few weeks, we got to make us some of this Mom's vanilla tea, man. Like, I love how the guy's like, I put in just a splash of vanilla, and he just chunks it in there. And I'm like, bro, you put like 3 or 4 tablespoons of vanilla in a pitcher. That would blow your palate out of your head, man. You put like a teaspoon in like 5 dozen cookies. So we're gonna have to try that. The old 6 tablespoon iced tea there.
Absolutely, man. No, and the ending scene, where you got the rocking chair going and the whole door slam. Norman, let me out. I mean, that's all.
The baby crying.
Yeah.
So
that was cringy.
Yeah, kind of some fun stuff there at the end. And yes, cringy, but cringy that way of like, oh, you horror movies, fuck.
I was like, oh dear God.
And we never got a Psycho 5 though, where the kids like.
No.
Yeah, thank God, because that's all we need is another like The Good Son kind of movie.
Oh, maybe that was it. Maybe that was it.
Maybe that was
it. He's adopted.
Don't hate on the good son.
By the time they got to his mother's house, I wrote, just die.
No, he likes the kid from Home Alone. It's all right.
I think I fell asleep for a little while.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys. In real life, I'm fucking burnt out, and it's after midnight.
So
We're rating this shit now, man.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Using my pop filter as a pillow.
Let's start with you first, Joe, so you can get off the air.
I actually called it right down the middle because I thought aspects of it were fun, and aspects of it were absolutely ridiculous. Like, how are you free again, Norman? You just killed a bunch of people again.
Right.
It just didn't make sense. But then it's supposedly a direct sequel to the first film. So we should have called it Psycho the Beginning instead of Psycho 4 the Beginning. And maybe, just maybe, I would have known. But like, it's supposed to be linear. So I'm saying, how did this freaking guy get out? And if he escaped, does he have a different identity? No. The wife's calling him Norman. What the hell? So anyway, long story short, right down the middle, 5 out of 10.
All right. Bill, let's go with you.
All right. I'm going to say I saw this movie the day it came out, the night it came out. And I love Henry Thomas, the kid who plays E.T.'s whatever. But I love the kid. He's really good as Norman. Oh, better than fucking Buck Henry, whatever the fucking kid is. That fucking show in the 80s. Ugh. Anyway,
what, the facts of life? You take the good, you take the bad, and then it's the facts of life.
So, as a part 4, I'm like, no. Acting wise, yes. Olivia Hussey, gorgeous. Henry Thomas, great in the role. I'm gonna go with a 5.
All right, team.
Ugh. I was dreadful. I couldn't take it. The flashbacks were killing me. I didn't like it. Norman doesn't strangle. I know El Bandito liked that part. I was yelling at the TV, what the fuck? Norman doesn't strangle people. This left a bad taste in my mouth, this movie did.
Like vanilla tea?
1.
Wow.
Whoa,
I did not like this movie at all.
Well, we better.
I mean, the acting. I gave it a 1 for the act because I did like the actors, but I just did not like the story at all.
This one might sleep with the fishes after that.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, Bandito.
You know, Olivia Hussey, like that's perfect casting. She's called a hussy. She plays a hussy of a mom. Just there's so much of this that was fun and that I liked because it was just different and not what I was expecting. And was Joey being facetious? He knows the movie is called Psycho 4: The Beginning, right?
What? I know.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm saying it should have just been called Psycho: The Beginning, not 4 to put it in the chronology of the sequels.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I get what you're saying now. I didn't understand the first time. I was like, is he making a joke? It is called The Beginning. But I see what you mean. Like, you shouldn't call it Psycho 4 / The Beginning. But
I think I made sense.
No, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. But yeah, I think I liked it every bit as much as I mean, I liked it more than 3. I don't want to rate it more than 3, but I think I'm gonna have to. So I think I got to go 6 just for the creativity, how different it was, how much they seemed to do with nothing. And Norman killed a ton of people a ton of different ways, so I'm not going to hang up too much on the strangling thing. So I'm going to go 6.
It's on the border of potentially sleeping with the fishes.
Well, all right. So, yeah, like I said, I did enjoy this when it first came out. I didn't hate it when I recently rewatched it. It definitely did lose some points from what, but I still think it's a great way to kind of cap off the series. I like the flashbacks, and I thought the kills were good. A lot of the stuff El Bandito said, I definitely dug into that. But and I definitely liked it more than Psycho 3, so I'm going to do a 6.5.
Oh,
wow.
I'm such a hater.
Yeah, I had originally had this at a 4. It's just one of those burnouts. I didn't care for it, but after hearing this, I'm gonna come up with it. I think there's a little bit more to it than I thought. Maybe binging all 4 in one day, right after another, probably wasn't the best way to watch these. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna come in. I think there's a lot more to this than than I had originally thought. So I'm going to say 6, just like Bandito did.
Hey, all right. Made a believer out of you. There you go.
I wasn't convinced.
Oh, that's Psycho 4.
You guys made me a believer out of Psycho 2. So I will absolutely email you guys once I change that rating.
All right, so even though we're not going to officially cover this, just for due diligence, any thoughts on the remake?
Why?
Yeah, who the fuck cares? Why did you do this?
Vince Vaughn is not convincing as Norman Bates.
No, he's terrible.
Oh.
No, he was definitely a really big dude.
Wholeheartedly, wow.
He was definitely a tall dude. Sorry.
No, I'll say this. It's not the worst remake of Psycho out there, actually.
No way.
No, there's actually another one.
What's that?
There's actually a remake from Turkey.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
We got to get that one.
I know.
What about the Bates Motel show? The new one. Anybody watch it?
I have not.
How is it?
The show? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I really like this show.
It's good.
So far. Yeah.
Cool.
I know it's on Netflix right now. I want to check it out.
I actually had a problem the first time I saw it because Norman's calling Mother Mom. I'm like, what? We didn't call her Mom. It's Mother.
He's just all casual with her now. He's like, whatever, I fucked her.
Hey, Mom.
It's like, whatever, I fucked her.
That's what he wanted to.
But
actually, she wanted to.
Does actually get better, and he shows why he's his mother.
Gotcha.
I really dig it. I really do. So
you thought Bates Motel did a better job than Psycho 4 as far as...
Yes, I
We'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be fair, I didn't watch the whole remake. I only watched little bits and pieces of it, but...
I really don't hate the remake.
It just seems...
Maybe I wouldn't if I sat down and actually watched the whole film, but... I only watched bits and pieces of it.
All
Hey,
right.
Bill, is there actually nudity in it? Like, I can't remember. Did they
Yeah,
actually?
you see her like tip.
Okay. So I was gonna say, I know one of the scenes that I mean, it's mostly scene for scene, but when Norman's watching her in the shower, like he's actually like masturbating.
Nice.
Like,
Right.
and that
I
wasn't
like
it.
that though. It's doing, man.
It's like you got.
That's so awesome.
Hold on, Neil Moy's like, oh, I like the fact he's masturbating. All right.
You do realize this is on video, right?
I actually like the fact that Norman would be masturbating to watching her shower, man.
Yeah. But again, how does
wait.
that work with this whole I get a boner, I'm immediately guilty, I kill a girl without banging her? If he's jacking it,
that's sort of-
you'd think
I
he
think
could
it
just
plays
bang
it
a chick.
even
Oh, wait, I think I got it, guys.
It's a
Norman does choke his chicken.
Norman just choked.
10 out of 10 for Charboil. There you go.
I think
He'll
it
be here
actually
all
makes
night.
even more sense. I think it actually makes more sense because he's actually, like you said, he's actually choking the chicken, and then oh snap, mother pops in.
There you go.
Well, I bet she's pissed now.
I gotta clean up the office too, Norman. Oh my God, mother, come!
Come. Nah, but I really like the remake. I really do.
But that was really weird where she says, I have to get my Walkman. Instead of in the first one, she said, Marion says, I have to get my coat.
That's
Why
right.
does she need a
Yeah.
Walkman?
Oh, the time. I get that.
Were Walkmans even a thing in '98? Weren't
I
they already
don't know.
gone?
I
But
don't remember. I didn't
I had
see them back
one,
then.
I had one all through high school.
yeah.
I had one all through high school.
Yeah, I did too, but I graduated in 1990.
Well, DVDs weren't a thing until '97, so it's all right.
Well, I mean, I remember being in high school and having those like nano iPod things, and that was like '99.
Really? I think you might be. I think it was a little
My
further.
iPod.
Was it?
Maybe an MP3 player.
Maybe a generic MP3 or something.
Yeah.
I had the
Yeah,
Dell
yeah.
jukebox.
You had a Zoom.
I didn't have
I
my MP3
want the
player
Zoom.
until I went to college. I got my MP3 player as a graduation gift from high school.
There you go.
Yeah, so
Yeah, no, I really don't hate the fucking remake. I really don't.
Yeah,
I wonder if I actually watched it. I just watched a Psycho comparison 25-minute video.
No, it really is like a word, or not word for word, but a shot for shot remake. But you know what? I liked it.
yeah.
Well, they didn't have the Christmas decorations in the city that were accidentally left there in the
Oh
first
no! The Christmas decorations were left out.
And the weird, and it had the weird flashbacks of when William H. Macy was falling down the stairs. Why was he like having a flashback of like a cow or something in the middle of a road or something?
I think that's something we can look at if we actually review this.
It just seemed
Going
unnecessary.
to bed,
I know
folks.
Joey wants to go to bed.
I just want to thank you guys for coming on the show and picking up the slack that I fucking totally slacked everywhere today.
No.
I definitely did not bring my A game, and thank you.
It's okay, man. Your C game is 110% to us, man. So we love it. Thank you guys so much for letting us come on and hang out with you guys. We can't wait to see the reaction from your guys as viewers to us appearing on the show. We hope that they totally just crucify us and hate us. And, say like, what were they thinking bashing all these movies? We have to go to their page and write nasty comments. You can find us at Charboil and El Bandito's Power Hour Love on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Oh yeah. Like El Bandito said, thank you guys so much. We'd love to come back again and retrospect other films and have a blast. It's always a good time with the Horror Mafia.
How about we get back with you when you have your voice back? How about that?
I know. I feel like I've drank some of Norman's iced tea. I'm dying
Bill
over
comes
here.
down to Florida and fucking Boyle gets a little raspy.
I know. Taking shots.
Bull's like, I'm so thirsty, I can't even swallow.
Oh, Bandito, it's so hot in here. Come rub me down with some orange spring water.
Just pours it right down her shirt.
Between
like-
Vegas and Bill Casanelli, you've been on a tirade.
I know, man. I gotta slow down, or else I'm gonna end up in the swamp.
Yep. In the trunk of a car just beating on it.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, this was a lot of fun, and yeah,
So I'm gonna end up
We'll
in the
definitely
swamp.
have you guys
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
Hey, boss, what movies are we doing next week?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Ah,
We're supposedly doing a double bill from a Patreon supporter of ours,
Oh.
but I haven't heard back from him yet. So I guess we're sort of up in the air as to what we're
we're
doing.
doing
So
what the fuck we want to do. All right, what we doing, guys?
I could kind of go for a nice little autumn potluck.
yeah, so stay tuned for next week.
Oh, sounds awesome, guys. Well, again, we're glad to be a part of the Horror Mafia podcast tonight. We had a super ton of fun. Thank you guys so
We'll
much.
definitely about that when the time comes, but
Well,
yeah, we'll
How about we ask
guess we'll
Charboil
surprise you with
and
what-
El Bandito what movies we should cover next week?
Oh man, that's a good one.
Poultrygeist.
Oh
I
nah.
love
Yes, yes.
There you go.
It's like one of my favorite horror movies ever, man.
I
It's
love
so good.
Poltergeist.
I should have said that when you asked me that on Monday, Bill, what my favorite horror movie was. I love that one, man. It's like he's so noble. The mighty
save that for
Indian chief.
Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
exactly.
Yeah, poultry
Little
guys.
poultry on the plate
There
Exactly.
you go.
man.
That's good. That's
Perfect.
good.
instead of Thanksgiving.
It's on Pluto TV today.
Have you guys already done the new Puppet Master?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool, cool.
But
Well-
all right, boys. Well,
So-
again, thank you very much.
No doubt.
Listeners?
Thank you
Yeah,
guys, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for tuning in, and
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
yeah
you,
we'll
I'll
see you
bring my
next
A
time.
game
Well,
next
no,
week,
whatever.
I promise.
no worries, man. You guys seem to have such amazing fans, though. So thank you guys so much for letting us interact with them and giving them a shout out. You know, saying what's up. We're gonna throw them some love out here on the Power Hour, man. They're welcome to come by our page, join our group, the Legion of Love. We can all stay connected. We do a bunch of nerdy podcast stuff. We talk about comic books and stuff like that, man. Wrestling. So you guys can come by. We're every Monday night at 9 p.m. So we'd love to see you guys in there. Get a little bit of love spreading all the way around, man. But we have loved being on the Horror Mafia podcast with you guys tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Spread it
thank
all
you.
over my tits.
That's
And
what
on that
Norman's mom
note,
said.
on that note, whatever we do next week, we'll see you next time.
Awesome.
All right.